It's brought to you by T-Mobile. John Farrell putting this one together tonight. Jacoby Ellsbury, Shane Victorino, the switch hitter, Dustin Pedroia, then David Ortiz, followed by Mike Napoli, Daniel Nava getting his first start. Bottom of the order is Jared Saltalamacchia, Stephen Drew, and Will Middlebrooks. And the Red Sox doing big damage in the first two games, and there was a lot of talk, Joe, about the layoff for Boston. They finished up the regular season last Sunday. They ended up waiting until Friday to play, and there was no rust whatsoever. This club came out swinging the bats, and they're doing it just a little bit differently against Tampa Bay than they maybe did during the regular season.
And a lot of offense for them naturally. We just talked about that. They've also played well in this ballpark. They were 6-3 here at Tropicana Field against the Rays this year.
Containing the top of that batting order has been key, as John mentioned, and Ellsbury and Victorino have been outstanding so far, and Boston has only used 10 players. Nava gets the start tonight, so he'll become just the 11th player on a position player side that has been used in this series, and everyone has contributed so far. Everybody has at least a hit. All 9 got hits in the opener. 8 of the first 9 in game 2. We're ready for baseball here in St. Pete, game 3. Red Sox trying to advance to the American League Championship Series with a win. Jacoby Ellsbury leads off. Swing it away at the first pitch. Fouls it away, and that's how the night begins for Cobb. And that's what Boston has been doing in the first 2 games of this series. Very aggressive at the plate.
Well, and this guy makes so many things happen for him if he gets on base. Of course, they steal bases like crazy, and it doesn't seem like they ever get thrown out. You know, it's been almost 2 months.
Ray Buchholz ready to make the start. 2 pitchers today. Very talented pitchers in their own right. There's a bouncer that's going to sneak through a base hit. And the Red Sox get at it again right away as Ellsbury reaches. And Joe, let's take a look at the Rays defense, and that has been a problem for them the first 2 days.
Yeah, they were so good during the regular season. You see the outfield of DeJesus, Jennings, and Myers from left to right. The infield remains intact as well. Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney, with Molina doing the catching this evening. They only had 8 multi-error games all season long. They had another one in game 2 that really cost them in Boston.
Now, that was not a bad pitch. You got to stay patient for Cobb. He just found the hole. Unfortunately, 12 out of 16 base stealers have been successful against Cobb.
Base stealing has been a big part of what Boston has been doing. They don't just sit back for the 3-run home run. They will be aggressive on the base pads. Shane Victorino, yes, a switch hitter, but now hitting just right-handed. Had a hamstring injury in early August that forced him to the right side of the box exclusively. David Ortiz with the 2-homer game. Game 2 on Saturday. Hits Victorino. So Cobb off to a shaky start. A single, now a hit batter. Victorino's been hit twice in this series so far, and 2 on with nobody out.
Again, this is a pitch he's trying to go in, and it sails on him. It goes up and in, and of course, guys in that dugout will say, we got ice. That's okay. We got to rally first and second with the heart of the lineup coming up. And it's so vital to keep this crowd into it. You know, you get this feeling when a team's successful in swinging. Here we go again. As a starter, your job in that first inning, do whatever you can to put up a 0.
He only hit 3 batters. Cobb did all year long. Maybe sign up some nerves from him here. Really going.
And he'll face Dustin Pedroia with 2 on. And there's strike 1. Home plate umpire tonight is Dana DeMuth. He's the crew chief. Pedroia with 3 runs batted in. Drove at 84 during the regular season. Hit .301 this year. Power numbers were down for Pedroia, but had his 2nd best run producing season as a Red Sox player. Bounce to third, got a chance to turn it. Longoria to second, the throw to first is a bad one. In to score is Ellsbury.
Second time in 2 games, Brian, that Shane Victorino has gone in and dumped Zobrist and caused a bad throw. It actually happened in Boston after the fact, after he had taken him out, caused him to eat a potential double play ball. But Victorino all over him again, takes him out, and that allowed the run to score with the wild throw.
Well, and I'll tell you, Zobrist likes to stay in there. He's using the back of the bag as almost the base to which throw to first, but that's a dangerous situation when a runner's coming in. Some guys get out of the way, take their step, and crow hop over. Some will even back up and throw it, but he stayed right there and took the blow. To your point, Joe, and threw it errant.
Well, the Rays' mistake starting to define this series. They open the door early as Ellsbury scores. To second goes Pedroia, and David Ortiz at the plate.
Nothing wrong with that slide either. Victorino went right over the top of the base, and as you said, John Zobrist was on the backside trying to use the bag to protect himself. But Victorino right over the top of the base, upended him.
Yeah, and again, whenever we see more traditional double plays, you'll see a base stealer slide to the right or to the left, depending on who's fielding the ball and where they're going, trying to take him out. That was pretty simple and straightforward. He slid right through the bag. There was nowhere for Zobrist to go but forward to throw, and of course, he knew he was going to take a hit.
Zobrist committing his second error of this series, and that's typically a strength of Joe Maddon's ball club. They were historically good this year. If not for the Baltimore Orioles, they would have set a major league record for the fewest errors in a single season. That is their 3rd error to go along with a number of misplays that didn't show up as errors. Ortiz ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes.
It's amazing we're in the 3rd game and the patience is being tested so quickly for these Rays. And when you have to have, it's hard to have patience in a short series when you're down 2-0, and so many different things have swung the momentum into a team that is hot and has taken advantage of it.
3-0 to Ortiz. He will have the green light if he gets one to his liking. Cobb misses up and away. All 4. Ortiz draws the walk, coming off his first career multi-homer game in the postseason. And first and second with 1 out for Mike Napoli.
If Alex Cobb had enough innings to qualify, he would have led the major leagues in ground ball to fly ball ratio. He does have good movement on his fastball. As John said, a good breaking pitch, and he got the ground ball he needed from Pedroia. It's just that Victorino upset the apple cart, didn't allow him to turn it. But he needs another ground ball here.
So here is Napoli. 92 ribbies during the regular season. Does have an RBI in this postseason. Napoli takes a huge hack at a mile high. Coming in to Jesus. 4 out number 2. And pitch, he retires Mike Napoli.
First fly ball of the evening for outfielders. They know not to take their eye off the ball in this ballpark. You've got the very light fabric roof, and if you take your eye off the ball while maybe going to the gap or backpedaling, you might not find the ball again. So you've got to keep your eye on it all the way. And as for this turf, it's AstroTurf, and I'm told that it's a slower version of artificial surface, not what you're accustomed to seeing on artificial surf. It's more natural, and the dirt part is hard, and it might actually pick up some speed on the dirt.
Here's Daniel Nava, getting his first start of this LDS at 303 during the regular season. Finished in the top 10 in the American League in that category. Johnny Gomes has been starting in left field, and Gomes has been a major contributor. Had the big hit on Friday that drove in the first 2 Boston runs. And tonight it is Nava who gets the start in left. 2 outs just underway from Tropicana Field. And the Red Sox on the board early. Courtesy of a throwing error by Zobrist. That's why Juliana performed the national anthem tonight.
know how he did it. I was so nervous for him. That had to be the most nervous he's ever been for any game he's getting ready to play.
He did a great job.
All in a strike, 2 on. And now it takes a strike. 1 and 2.
Not as a better left-handed hitter. He's a good low ball hitter. He's very patient, as you're seeing here. Very popular player in Boston for his story and how he worked his way to the big leagues. And you can bat him anywhere in the lineup.
Best $1 signee in the history of baseball, I think. Signed him for $1 out of the independent leagues. 2 is fouled away. Nava had a big cut. I'm sure the Rays are happy to be back in an environment where they are cheering for them. It was a rough go the first 2 days in Boston. The crowds at Fenway Park, specifically for Will Myers. But Will Myers said, I can't wait to hear my last name chanted again, because if that's the case, they'll be heading there for a Game 5. They're trying to push it to a Game 4 with a win tonight. Alex Cobb did give up some hits against the Indians in the wild card game, but he was able to pitch out of jam after jam, it seemed, and Madden continued to let him go out there. And he rewarded his skipper. Did not allow a run to Cleveland. Another 1-2. Nava bounces one foul. Alex Cobb has won 4 consecutive starts. He's only given up 3 runs in his last 30 innings. 3 runs in 30 innings and 31 strikeouts, and he has 13 2/3 consecutive scoreless. He has been a big game pitcher, at least in the wild card game, and then down the stretch when the Rays needed victories just for the right to enter into the postseason.
Tell you what, people have no idea how hard it is to have clean innings in postseason. You would think in the regular season, statistically, 76% of the time he's gotten the leadoff runner. The Red Sox have now gotten the leadoff man 8 times in the series, and 6 of the first 7 scored. Your breathing's different. Your saliva's different. You want to do so well, and so getting clean innings is huge. And so far for the Rays, there haven't been many of them.
A lot of pressure on the pitchers and on the defense because of so many base runners.
Do it again, another 1-2 pitch. And Nava bouncing ball. Look at Cobb lay out from his knees to end the inning. Red Sox score. Cobb gives up only 1. Let's check out the batting order, brought to you by T-Mobile. Joe Madden's Tampa Bay Rays, and James Loney's been a clutch performer in the postseason. Most of that coming as a Los Angeles Dodger, but he's had a nice run. Drove in a couple of runs in Saturday's game. Loney batting 5th here today. A little bit of a shift in the lineup with Myers hitting cleanup, and that is for Clay Buchholz. 16 starts during the regular season, a 12-1 record, and an earned run average of 1.74. As David DeJesus leads off, and John Clay Buchholz finally back and healthy, and what a weapon to have as your number 3 starter in the postseason.
Yeah, no doubt. We could spend all game talking about the year he had. Now, it's only 108 innings, but it's Pedro Martinez-like. Pedro did it over 200 innings. What he's done, only 1 home run against right-handers, and what can you say, 12-1 on the year. He's got filthy stuff, from a moving fastball to a great changeup, really hard curveball, and a cutter. So what this guy provides, especially for left-handers, that comebacker, Greg Maddux-like fastball, but 94, and then the ability to change speeds.
Buchholz returning from the disabled list on September 10th, and he made his first start back from the DL right here at Tropicana Field. Pitched well that day, and he's had great success against just about everybody in the American League, including the Tampa Bay Rays. Red Sox started with Lester in game 1. Lackey pitched game 2. Now Buchholz, and if it goes to a game 4, Jake Peavy is up.
You mentioned his good work against Tampa Bay, Brian, and that's 2 starts worth this year. Total of 13 innings, and he did not give up a run. And only 5 hits in those 13 innings. Struck out 16.
Yeah, he loves the turf. 2-0 on the turf. No runs given up. 132 batting average against.
2 balls and a strike on De Jesus. David De Jesus getting his first taste of the postseason at 33 years of age.
Rays need something big to happen, Brian. They've already fallen behind tonight. They can't afford to fall behind anymore against Clay Buchholz, but to get this crowd going, to get their dugout going, they need a crooked number in one of the early innings to loosen up their offense and put some runs on the board and try to extend this series.
2-2. De Jesus. And this is inside. De Jesus started his season with the Cubs. He was traded to the Nationals, was there just briefly, and then after 4 days with the Nationals, the Rays picked him up, and he has been part of that revolving door in left field that's ultimately worked as a platoon in this series. Sean Rodriguez started game 1. De Jesus has been out there for the last 2 division series games. And a little flare. Back is Drew. Can't get it. Base hit. De Jesus muscles one for a single.
Here's the Boston defense tonight. We told you about Daniel Nava being in left field. He can play any of the 3 outfield positions. So they really have 3 center fielders out there tonight. Middlebrooks, Drew, Pedroia, and Napoli, with Pedroia in 2 gold gloves. Salta Lamacchia behind the plate. This defensive unit has turned 3 double plays for their pitchers already in this series, and they've been huge to try to cut into some potential rallies for Tampa Bay.
Leadoff runner aboard for the Rays, and now Ben Zobrist elevated to the 2 spot in the batting order. Has homered in this LDS. He homered in game 1 as a right-handed batter. Hit 12 during the regular season. It's been a frustrating series offensively for Zobrist. On Saturday in game 2, he stranded 5 base runners. Came up in some big spots. And the Red Sox pitching able to quell many of those rallies. And Joe Madden was telling us before the game, this is what it has been like for Tampa Bay this entire season against Boston. They're having no trouble getting runners on base. They're getting their hits and a lot of traffic behind the opposing pitcher. But the runners in scoring position numbers are pretty bad for Tampa Bay. Under 200 during the regular season.
3 strikeouts for Zobrist in this series already, as you talk about his struggles, Brian, and 7 at bats. One thing to John's point about that 2-seamer that he's got that's Greg Maddux like, that will back up to the inside corner. The left-handed hitters, whether you're a switch hitter like Zobrist or not, you can't give up on that pitch. If you do, you're going to take a lot of strikes.
The signature of this Tampa Bay ball club is their patience and their confidence instilled by their manager Joe Madden. Ben Zobrist, just a little bit of a change in the lineup is going to do wonders for him. He's not a guy that lacks confidence as it is. But he is an all-star, and he's a big part of what Tampa Bay tries to do offensively.
The Jesus looked like he was ready to go.
Well, for Buchholz, I know everything's half numbers. He missed 82 games, but only 6 base stealers. 6 got caught stealing, so 50% there. Does a nice job, as you see him trying to keep the runner from getting too big of a lead. Semi-quick to home.
None in his last 11 starts. Coming back from the disabled list, Buchholz, an all-star selection this year. 2nd time he's been selected to an all-star team.
The Rays only have 5 hits against Buchholz this year, 5 for 41. That's a whopping 122 average. So they're going to have to be selective and find something that's over the middle of the plate.
Buchholz, now 29 years of age, burst onto the scene through a no-hitter in the big leagues in his second start in 07. Zobrist takes one high. Johnny had a great year in 2010. He was 17-7 and an ERA of 2.33, and at that time it looked like Buchholz had put himself into that elite category in the major leagues. And he slipped a little the next 2 seasons, dealing with injuries and effectiveness. He has found it once again, though, in 2013.
Well, as you can see, he's not the biggest of guys out there. Very slender, has great arm action. A lot of things have to go right physically for him to be successful because such torque and finish on his pitches. So when there's something wrong like a neck or some of the injuries he had this year, it takes a little bit longer for him to come back to be successful.
Buchholz and Saltalamacchia with a chat. Take a look at our Chevrolet pitch arsenal. This is the breakdown through the regular season. 16 starts for Buchholz.
Yeah, the fastballs also take care of the cutters. So it's a pitch a lot of the Red Sox seem to throw, the starters. A lot of cut fastballs, a lot of firm fastballs with a great changeup. Acts like a split curveball that has a nice hard downward action off of his fastball.
Buchholz will slow the pace down when he has runners aboard. Trying to take a little starch out of the legs of the base runners. And also, when he's pitching on the road, Joe does a pretty good job quieting down a big crowd.
Well, he can infuriate a crowd too with his pace.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Zobrist. De Jesus started it with a single. And a bouncing ball to first. Napoli goes to second. Out there. Return throw not in time. So Napoli gets the lead out. And the first out for Buchholz.
That was a big risk there by Napoli and a good play because he's standing just a foot off the bag right here. Could have stepped on the base, and especially with De Jesus' speed, that might have been a play where he beats the throw to second. But a good effort by Napoli. Got the ball there in time with a good throw out of the baseline. Good feed to Drew to get the lead runner.
And here comes Evan Longoria, the face of this franchise. Longoria coming off another 30-homer season, hit 32 during the regular year with 88 homers, or rather 88 RBIs. Third 30-homer season of his career.
You're right, Joe, because as a right-handed first baseman, if he doesn't throw it to the outside part of the bag, he's throwing it right into the infield. The left-hander has an easier throw being away from the base runner, so he did a nice job making sure he didn't mess up Drew on that throw.
To your point, Brian, about his no-hitter that he threw, there's some in the organization that thought that slowed Buchholz's development a little bit because that kind of success came so early to him in his second start.
That came as a 22-year-old from Lumberton, Texas. And a swing and a miss. Longoria. Boston was 14-2 in his 16 starts this year. He did a lot of winning with Buchholz on the mound. It is interesting, though, that he didn't give up many home runs throughout the regular season. Only 2 homers allowed in the first 15 starts, but he did give up 2 homers in his last start of the regular season. When you have Evan Longoria at the plate, the home run ball is always a weapon for the Rays.
Trouble is, you need Longoria to come up big for you naturally as your big hitter, and he certainly did in that game 163 against Texas. But he and Zobrist combined are just 11 for 70 against Buchholz. It's just a 157 mark, so they've had their share of problems with him.
And how sick and tired are these players of guys like us throwing the numbers at them?
Yeah, it's
especially the Rays.
Yes, the 200 averages keep coming around.
Longoria pops it up. Shallow center for Ellsbury. And there is out number 2. Back to first goes Zobrist. So 2 gone. Here comes Will Myers.
I think the Red Sox were sick and tired of the David Price type numbers they saw in Boston, and they did something about it. Same with Moore when they saw him in Game 1.
Well, Myers trying to improve his numbers before time runs out. He is 1 for 13 in the postseason. 5 strikeouts for Myers at .293 during the regular season. He was called up in mid-June, and he led this Rays ball club in RBIs from the time of his call up to the end of the season. And Madden has dropped him back into the cleanup spot tonight. Two outs with Zobrist at first. Myers breaks his bat. Pedroia. And Buchholz is through the bottom of the first. Scoreless. 1-0 Red Sox. They score in the top half. Boston coming up. Rays trying to do the same tonight against the Red Sox. Switch hitting catcher Jared Saltalamacchia will lead off for Boston. Cobb giving up a run in the first. It was a throwing error by Zobrist that led to that run. A run, a hit, an error. There were 2 batters reaching, hit batter and a walk against Cobb, and now see if he settles into this one a little bit. We saw a fantastic curveball from Alex Cobb in his last start in the wild card game against the Indians. And it turned out to be a go-to pitch for him. Seemed like every time he was in trouble, he was able to break that curveball out and get himself out of some jams.
One of the things I took from that outing against Cleveland was that it didn't appear that he had his best stuff. He admitted afterwards he didn't have his best stuff, and yet he did not allow a run. There's his line, and only 1 walk. Gave up some hits, pitched out of trouble.
It was Houdini-like. I mean, you had runners occupying 2 bases with nobody out. He found ways to get a big double play with the bases loaded and almost willed his way to making those pitches. That's what it's going to take today.
2-2. Cobb. And then Saltalamacchia. See what he has in mind for him here. Yeah, a miss. Saltalamacchia strikes out. 1 gone in the inning as we check in with Rachel Nichols.
Well, guys, you talk about Alex's nerves in the first inning. He does acknowledge that his adrenaline was a little too high during that wild card game, so he came in today with a plan. If he felt that his emotion was getting in the way of his control, he was going to start taking a little bit off of his pitches. Alex, of course, has a ton of fans here in Tampa Bay, but one very special one overseas in Afghanistan as well. His older brother, RJ, is a U.S. Army captain, won a Purple Heart in Iraq, and his dad gives all his DVDs of Alex's games over in a care package to his brother. So one more reason, guys, why Alex would like to have a good one today. We'll cheer up for his brother, RJ.
Yeah, no question, and we tip our hat to RJ and all of our service men and women. And Alex Cobb was very much looking forward to pitching on a stage like this for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons for him, as he told me, was that RJ can get a little publicity, and those who work alongside him. And he was very proud of his brother and talks about him a great deal. Said he's not a huge baseball fan, but he does like watching his games when he can get them. Somehow RJ is tuning us in today. We welcome you. Stephen Drew takes another hook.
One thing the Red Sox didn't see in Boston were many curveballs from Moore or Price. They might get a steady diet today if this one keeps up, because Alex Cobb's curveball looks outstanding.
Yeah, they've seen more in the first inning and the third than they saw in 2 games, believe it or not. That was the most alarming thing for me. A few pitchers did not have the feel for that pitch, so they didn't force it, they didn't go to it.
And Drew late on that fastball, out to DeJesus. 2 up, 2 down for Alex Cobb.
I'm just going to tell you, having shagged enough BP in this ballpark, It is absolutely difficult if you take your eye off of the ball. You'll watch a lot of outfielders today staring at the ball the whole way because of the ceiling and the way the distraction that it provides at times, especially at certain times of the day. You have to focus the whole time on that fly ball.
Yeah, nothing routine about him.
Little tapper, and over his Cobb, throw to first, and it's in time. Wow! Close play at first. The athletic Alex Cobb has ended the last 2 innings with a couple of gems. Beautiful plays to end innings. And a 1-2-3 second for Alex Cobb sends James Loney to the plate. Loney just missed a .300 batting average in the regular season. Would have had it not been for the tiebreaker game, the 163rd game against the Rangers a week ago. Still had a fine season. And he hits that one hard into left center field. And that's going to fall. Base hit. One hop off the wall. Loney on his way to second with a double. He just keeps on hitting in the postseason.
Remember, he had a double off the wall and off the Green Monster in Boston. He's doing his best work going the other way. It might be time for some of his teammates to take a note out of his hitting book. Smoked that one.
And I know it's early, and I know it's the American League, and they play different than the National League as far as how they produce runs. They're trying for the big inning, but somehow, some way, you've got to get the runner over to third with less than 2 outs to give your team a chance to tie it. Obviously, the best scenario is a hit. Somehow, some way, get him to third.
Green more.
Desmond Jennings batting 6th tonight. And you typically see him in that spot against right-handed starters. Jennings has driven in a couple of runs. He's had a nice postseason as well. Had the big hit against the Indians in the wild card game. Drove in 2 runs with a double. 4 for 10 in the postseason. James Loney is now 4 for 10 in the postseason. Buckhold slows it down with men on base.
Always felt it. But you got to put it on the next guy. Not everybody can be the hero. And it's so important at this time of the year, especially when you're struggling to score some runs and you're facing a team that could score some runs, to really shorten it up. I felt it was an advantage to pitch against a guy who wasn't looking to get him over. If he was in pull mode, trying to hit the ball deep, then it was giving me a chance to get out of that inning with the runner on second, nobody out.
Even though the guy on deck, Matt Joyce, had the lowest percentage of getting a guy in from third in less than 2 outs among their regulars, you still got to get him over and give him a chance to get him in. The chances are good that the Red Sox would play back and the ground ball would get him in.
Outfield is deep for Boston. And Jennings to the right side, but caught, and a throw to second, and out at second. A line drive out turns into a double play. Worst case scenario for the Rays.
How about Mike Napoli? He's turning into a Gold Glove first baseman tonight.
And this is just horrible luck. Great hitting. The runner at second really doesn't have much time. I know he's supposed to freeze on a line drive, but he hits it to the right side. Great timing by Drew coming over. And just an all-around play that Boston's been making. So far, Tampa has fallen short in the luck factor, but a great job for Jennings that goes for naught.
Mike Winters, the second base umpire, right on it. Good call for out number 2. That wipes the bases clean. And here is Matt Joyce. Joyce getting his first start of this postseason. Joyce is from Tampa, went to Armwood High School. Spent a lot of time in this ballpark as a teenager. And he's hoping to make an impact on this series here tonight. He said the designated hitter role can be a tough one at times. No ability to affect the game defensively. He has been a struggling hitter down the stretch, but Madden's going to take a chance on him this evening.
How about this shift? I mean, they're expecting Joyce to pull, but look how close Napoli is to the line. It's almost like a late inning prevent a double type setup. And even Pedroia playing in shallow right field is way over toward the line.
And now with 2 strikes, Middlebrooks moves over into the second base position. Joyce, who is a dead pull hitter.
That's like the old days when you didn't have enough players to play and you go to a park and you just go left field's out, right field's out. Man, he hit one off the end of the bat. Here it might be a double and it might not even get out of the infield.
1-2 to Joyce, and a little flare over the head of Drew, coming in Nava, and he makes the catch. Daniel Nava, a sliding catch. Bad luck for the Tampa Bay Rays. It'll be Ellsbury, Victorino, and Pedroia to start it against Alex Cobb here in the third. The top of this Red Sox order has been quite the story. Ellsbury and Victorino combining for 10 hits through 2 games plus 1 at bat here tonight. 10 for 19, those two. And Ellsbury has now scored in 5 runs in his last 6 trips to the plate. Fly ball left field to Jesus, back a little and just shy of the track for out number 1. And Alex Cobb, after his walk to Ortiz, has retired 6 in a row.
Well, this really isn't a fluke. When you dig into the stats after the year was over, it's hard to find a stat outside the top 5. They're 5th in home runs. Everything else is 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. 1st in slugging, doubles, runs, hit by pitch, total bases. The list goes on. So this team is predicated on offense, slugging the ball, running. It's their pitching that has made that transformation from last year to this year. It's their pitching and the combination of hitting that now makes them the strongest team so far in the American League in the playoffs.
Have the best record in the American League this year. They have earned the home field advantage throughout the World Series if they make it that far. Boston's next win, if they get there, will be their 100th of the season. A team that finished in last place in the American League East last season. First to first. John Farrell's club 5.5 games better than the Tampa Bay Rays. In the American League East, finished in the top 2 spots. This crowd wanting a strikeout as Cobb has Victorino in a hole.
These guys made a huge difference in their lineup for John in terms of how they score runs, being a little more versatile so they don't have to count on home runs. And has filled a big hole for them at the number 2 spot. So a lot of guys with high on base percentages ahead of Pedroia and David Ortiz.
Ball and 2 strikes on Victorino. Alex Cobb throws a lot of curveballs for strikes. It's a big part of what he does. Swing and miss curveball. His pitch arsenal this season. 45% fastballs and pretty good balance of breaking balls and changeups. Another 1-2 on the way. Victorino doesn't bite.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the lowest percentages in baseball for fastball percentage for a guy that really, as you look at his delivery and got that pause action, he really mixes it up pretty well with that off-speed pitch.
That leg kick plays into deceptions there in terms of timing. It's tough.
A lot of questions about Shane Victorino, and after the hamstring injury forced him into a right-handed only batter. Now occasionally he did bat left-handed against right-handed pitchers toward the end of the season, but He is mostly a right-handed batter, officially listed as a switch hitter. He has seen Alex Cobb as a right-handed batter this season. Swings and misses. He got him with a hook, and down he goes. Alex Cobb with strikeout number 2.
You don't see too many front door curveballs, but the depth on this curveball is so good. You can see him pitching them in with fastballs, and then he wants this pitch to be almost buckle a right-hand hitter. For a guy who's seen a lot of pitches in, that's the reason why you might want to start that curveball. It was not by accident that they threw it in.
And a curveball to make you go back to switch hitting and get on the left side.
Exactly. Here's Pedroia. Fastball zips right by him. 3 hits. He had 9 at-bats in this LDS. Pedroia had 3 runs batted in on Saturday. David Ortiz got the big headlines with the 2 homers, and rightly so, but it was Pedroia who drove in 3 runs. The Red Sox 7-4 win. They won the first game of this LDS 12-2. The offensive numbers, as Joe pointed out in our open, just jump off the page. How good Boston has been offensively despite that long layoff. Had to sit on their best record for 4 days while tiebreakers and wild card games were being played. Right.
It's amazing about Pedroia, having faced him and watching him this last 4 years. You talk about that leg length of stride, and you would think he would be more susceptible to breaking ball, slow pitches, but he keeps his hands back so well that he can still drive that ball and hit it the other way.
And his head doesn't move much. It's hard to knock him off the plate, hard to get him to flinch. Yeah, I think Cobb is getting into a little bit of a groove here, guys. He's got that 2-seamer working that came back for a good called strike here on Pedroia, and he's had the hook working.
The run in the first was an unearned run. Buchholz has given up 2 hits. Nothing on the board. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Pedroia. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes. Back-to-back Ks. 8 straight for Cobb. Allowing Ellsbury to score. Alex Cobb has retired 8 straight with 3 strikeouts since that first inning. And now Buchholz back to work. Strike 1 to Yunel Escobar. Escobar, Jose Molina, then back to the top of the order into Jesus.
That Buchholz had only given up 1 home run to a right-hander. To put that in perspective, 184 right-handers faced. Pedro Martinez, in his magical years, the 1 year he gave up 0 home runs to 300 right-handers that he had faced.
Now those 2 home runs he allowed in his last start against Baltimore, coming against Adam Jones of the Orioles and Chris Davis. Jones a right-hander, the left-hander Davis. And this plays as a pretty big ballpark. It's fair. It's the best way to describe it. It's not a launching pad by any stretch, especially from gap to gap. It can play very big from left center all the way around to right center. Jam shot. Middlebrooks will wind it up. Escobar retired for the first out. And here comes Jose Molina. Joe Madden hoping Molina can continue to be a Red Sox killer. He doesn't hit a whole lot, but Molina, who hit just .233 during the season, hit .429 against Boston this year. And pretty good sample size. He was 15 for 35 against the Red Sox this season. One of 2 catchers that Madden carries on his postseason roster. Molina and Jose Lobaton sharing the duties.
I don't know what they did as a family, but they were given a gift of receiving the baseball, enticing the pitcher to throw it in a way that is different than most. What I mean by that is there's a certain way that you position your hand that makes it look the target bigger than it is. Yachty does an incredible job in St. Louis, an MVP candidate in the last 3 years. Of course, Benji and just that had to be a tough gig growing up in backyard baseball. I mean, I want to be catcher.
Yeah.
Got a couple brothers.
You had to rotate, take turns. You got to play shortstop today.
Yadier was the youngest and was always thought of as the best as Molina into left field. That is hooking, and that is up, and it is a foul ball. Boy, Chris Guccione's the left field umpire, and he sends for the dramatic as he replayed that in his mind, and a late call. It was close.
Again, the reason they're so far back from the foul pole, because the closer you get to the foul pole, the harder it is to see that ball actually cross fair or foul. So they're tighter behind the regular umpires, and as it passes each umpire, then it's his call down the line. And of course, this is not the easiest of places to determine certain things.
And it's only 315 to that foul pole, straight down the line, by the way. Short porch.
And a short fence in height as well. And now he goes. Buchholz got Molina to chase.
In fact, it was that short fence 2 years ago where Longoria's home run and that miracle comeback 7-0. Rays were losing that sent him into the playoffs. Right over that Tampa Bay partnership sign, I believe, is where that ball went.
Yeah, that little area. It's called 162 landing.
Oh, that's what that means.
Longoria, one of the great moments, not just in Tampa Bay Rays history, but baseball history, and of course that incredible final day of the regular season in 2011. Top of the order to Jesus.
And the way those games played out that year was almost chronologically every 15 minutes or so. It seemed like this happened, and that happened, and this happened. And of course, we ended up this year getting that extra play-in game between Texas and the Rays.
Ironically, the Red Sox just soon not talk about 2011.
It's a sore subject, and that was the end for Terry Francona. Jesus down the line, foul. Drum up a memory. Rays fans will remember well. Last day of the season, 2011, and that sent the Rays to the postseason.
You know, if you think about it, credit to both organizations, both Boston and Atlanta, because they both had that collapse that year, both in the playoffs this year.
Now, Boston has been branding their season as the road to redemption. The franchise had lost over 90 games last year, and you never would have imagined that with the Boston Red Sox franchise, with the payroll that they have, the great fans they have at Fenway Park. But it happened. Bobby Valentine, the manager, just the 1 year. They brought in John Farrell, and a huge trade with the Dodgers that freed him up as far as payroll goes. A payroll mulligan, if you will, that trade with Los Angeles. And not just the current Red Sox are hitting, but all the former Red Sox are hitting as well, especially those playing for the Dodgers right now.
And most people will forget it was a trade that got the manager. It wasn't a manager coming from idle. He had to be traded to come to the Red Sox.
From the Blue Jays, John Farrell. And Jesus takes a called strike three right at the top of the zone, and Buchholz with his best inning. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of Ks. He went the distance against the Rangers in the tiebreaker game. He's saying he thought Price's fastball was just a tick down, a tick slower, and the Red Sox were aggressive. Price had the big swing away early. He swings away early here, and Cobb gets strike one.
You know, it's amazing because we all fall victim to, you know, you should have a 24-hour rule. When you're in the heat of battle and you're competing, and you want to do the best you can, and things don't go the way you would like them to, and something happens. You'd like to think 24 hours would win out, but sometimes it just it comes out.
Criticism leveled at some of our guys in the TBS booth. That's what kind of got it all started, and was certainly not a good idea on the part of David Price. And I believe he has apologized for that.
Yeah, he has, and I'm sure there'll be a Twitter protocol addressed prior to next season. Something in the heat of the battle. I think the nerds comment about Dirk Hayhurst and Tom Verducci, that was inappropriate, but actually kind of funny, and kind of a laugh and kind of a bit, and a lot of people talked about it. But the one about David Ortiz standing and watching, that's the one that you keep your eye on moving forward in the series. And Ortiz said he had nothing by it. He just wanted to make sure it was fair. He knew he hit it plenty deep to get out, but it's not like it was a guaranteed fair ball.
And they talked, both he and David Price, and everything's hunky dory.
At least according to Ortiz.
So to speak.
Ortiz walked his first time out. Still a major weapon at the plate. He'll be 38 in November. Ortiz coming off yet another 30-homer, 100 RBI season. It's his 7th, which ties Ted Williams for the most in franchise history. Pitch. Ortiz, a foul tip. He just got a piece.
Oh, that hook is so good. Throwing it in any count now.
Yeah, and I know a lot of guys, more so, I guess, in the last few years. I don't remember too many guys throwing the spike curveball back in the day, but that allows that spin to be so tight. Some people throwing knuckle curveball. This is actually one finger at the end.
And Ortiz draws the walk. So he is aboard his second walk, and we send it down to Rachel.
Well, guys, David Price actually called Ortiz yesterday to apologize for those comments. And about an hour or so before the game, he also offered, quote, a deep apology to the fans who saw those combative comments on Twitter. He spoke to the media here. He said he, quote, embarrassed myself. He said, my family, I embarrassed this organization. He called it a dark spot on his career. But, guys, he thinks Twitter can be used for good, he said, and his manager agrees with him. Joe Madden doesn't want to shutter his account, just wants guys to be more responsible.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And David Price would love nothing more than to get another opportunity, and that would have to be in a Game 5 scenario. He would come back, skip Matt Moore, and pitch in a Game 5 situation at Fenway Park. So he would love nothing more than to be able to do that. Red Sox have a 2-game lead in this series, jumping out quickly in this ALDS with 2 wins at Fenway. Didn't miss by much. Molina wanted the call, held it there for home plate umpire Dana Demuth.
Looked like a good pitch.
Setting up in, and just that little reach. Pitch Tracks has it in the lower box. Sometimes the little reach gives a different view to the umpire.
Napoli swung at the first pitch in the first inning. He flew out to left. And a line drive, base hit right field. So Napoli goes the other way, and 2 on to start this 4th inning after Cobb had retired 8 straight.
Well, that's the only way you can hit that pitch right there. I mean, that's a slow curveball, and Jim Hickey's coming out to the mound and talk to his pitcher. If you're in pull mode and you're trying to, that's more than likely a 6-4-3. A great piece of hit for Boston.
This is the section of the Red Sox lineup, though, that they are pretty much station to station. You got some base cloggers right now out there in Ortiz and Napoli, but you're right, John. Going the other way, and I wonder if Hickey thought maybe he's using or going to that curveball too much. Maybe they're making some adjustments, looking for it.
It's one of the oldest baseball phrases as far as hitting goes. See the curveball, take it the other way, and Napoli does so on a line drive rocket out there. And now 2 on to start this 4th inning. One thing about Cobb, because he is such an extreme ground ball pitcher, he does have the kind of stuff to get him out of a lot of jams, and we saw that in Cleveland in that wild card game.
Well, we saw it in the 1st inning. If Victorino hadn't taken out Zobrist.
Yeah, before that wild card game in the regular season, I think he had 15 ground ball double plays. That's a lot for not pitching the whole year. I think I had that in 21 years, maybe. Not a lot of ground balls.
Good point, John. Here's Nava. Takes a ball low.
I don't know, during that knuckleball period in your career, maybe.
Well, again, it's different strategies. Team's got a 2-0 advantage. They're looking to put a crooked number up there. The National League version going to usually bunt, get runners at 2nd and 3rd. Of course, you're dealing with the pitcher, so you're not here. But Boston loves to swing the bat and get a lot of things going.
Well, Cobb has given up 2 hits. The leadoff single by Ellsbury was on a curveball, went the opposite way. He had his pitch arsenal tonight. And then Napoli single to right. Cobb has issued 2 walks. He's also hit a batter. Got some cloggers on the bases right now in Ortiz and Napoli. And Tampa Bay looking for a ground ball to turn 2 here. Strike. Fastball in there. 2 balls and 1 strike on Daniel Nava. And that platoon with Johnny Gomes, but Nava's been playing a lot down the stretch, even against left-handed pitching. Big swing and a miss. That's been the difference maker for Cobb in this postseason so far, his ability to go to that curveball when he's behind in the count.
And now that it's 2-2, Nava's going to have to respect the fastball. It's certainly good enough at 92, 93 that the curveball becomes that much more effective.
Missed. And Molina shaking his head behind the plate.
Going in, looking for that comeback, just missing late life.
Full count. Do you send the Clydesdales here?
That's exactly right. You can hear them run. Full count, nobody out. They stay put. Nava pops it foul. Long run. Longoria. Longoria slides. Can't get there. Good effort.
Put it in perspective, both Tampa and Boston only have 24 sacrifices on the year. Only Oakland and the White Sox have less. Normally that's going to be a tough slide in most parks. That's going to be if that's where the bullpen dirt is, if that's carpet, made to look like dirt cut out.
Now we're only in the 4th, but this is a big pitch coming up here for Alex Cobb. 2 on to start the inning. Red Sox lead 1-0 in this game 3, which is an elimination game for the Rays. Just got a piece, went back to the hook.
That's just great confidence in your stuff. 3-2 count, kind of a neutral count. It's more of a pitcher's count if you've got an aggressive hitter who doesn't want to necessarily walk, wants to put the ball in play. And if you've got a patient hitter, you really got to come to the hitter.
There's also a guy in Nava who is on the very back line of the batter's box. So you've got to reach a little bit, even for just a good over strike curveball.
See what Cobb has in mind here. The payoff. Nava fouls another one away.
Did you pay attention much to where guys were in the box?
Yeah, and I asked my catcher to do that. If you got a lot of thought process, and you want to make 115 decisions a game, you really want to focus on that. And I asked the catcher to watch if he choked up on the barrel, on the bat, moved up in the box, or moved back in the box. That's telling me exactly what I need to know for which pitch I want to try to throw.
You see how deep Nava is, obliterating that back line. Pitch number 9 of the at-bat coming. Nava center field. Jennings will run it down. Ortiz is going to tag, and he's going. And Jennings' throw comes into second base. So Big Poppy gets it churning and ends up at third with 1 out.
Despite what the people's anxiety was when they saw him tag, and it's the right play. You don't want the trail runner to end up at second base, so he's going to take his time and look at what Napoli's doing at first. Of course, that should be made.
Yeah, if he got some help from his other outfielders to let him know where Napoli was, and as an outfielder, I always wanted to know what the trailing runner was doing. If the trailing runner was tagging, then I knew where I had to go with the throw. Napoli almost standing at second. He had an opportunity to at least try, and with Escobar's arm on a relay, they might have had a chance.
Yeah, he's going to need that help. You're right, because you can't tell if he's already had tagged or where he is off the ball.
Double play ball still a possibility here. It's Saltalamacchia, the switch hitter. Cobb struck him out in the second inning. First and third. Leadoff walk to Ortiz, a single to right by Napoli. David Ross caught yesterday's game for Boston. Saltalamacchia had the opener on Friday. There's a strike.
Well, what's interesting about this elimination game for the Rays, if you remember, game 163, they had 600 people to choose from. Well, 37. And then the wild card game, they had an adjusted roster that meant the strategy was different for Madden. In this case, it's your set roster. He said it would be different trying to manage this game, but for the most part, you don't have as many options to go to like you did in the previous two.
I don't know if that was a tip-off right there or not. Escobar had been on the shortstop side a second, and as just before he went set, Cobb, Escobar moved to the first base side a second, and then it was a changeup, almost like he saw the signs, was reading the signs, saw a changeup, he might pull it, he might have tipped that off had Saltalamacchia noticed.
Now Molina wants a fastball. First and third, 1 out. Saltalamacchia takes one away, tracked it all the way.
It's that pitch before. Escobar jumping up and down, and then he moves over to the first base side. After he sees the sign, he moves over, and sure enough, there was a changeup on that pitch.
Got to be somewhat distracting to a hitter right behind the pitcher. 2-2. A swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. Molina with a great block and a quick throw to third. Ortiz was just slowly walking back to the bag. They almost stole it out right there. A strikeout for the second out. Molina puts that big body in front of it in the dirt, and everybody has to hold their ground on the base paths.
See him take his lead. Now Longoria sneaks back over just in case he doesn't get back there in time.
That was close. That's risky too, by the way. 2 gone for Alex Cobb.
Big out there for him. In the third, less than 2 outs, he gets a big strikeout.
And that'll bring up Stephen Drew. Everyday shortstop, but his split's much better versus right-handed pitching. He's a left-handed only batter. The 284 against right-handers this year. First and third, 2 gone. Drew on the first pitch, fouls it away. Pitch number 25 of the inning for Alex Cobb. Had to work in the first. It was an error that led to a run. Throwing error by Zobrist on a potential double play ball.
Not quite getting the call on that two-seamer inside yet.
It's got decent movement, but it didn't have the movement we saw in Cleveland. Just a fraction from really getting that last late tilt to get that comebacker where the umpire sees it over the plate and the batter sees it as a ball.
And Drew down the right field line. That is foul. Got out ahead of it.
That was a break because Will Myers had just, somebody had told him something either from the dugout or on the field, and he had taken 2 or 3 real quick steps towards center field, so there was a big opening down the line.
Now Drew in a hole, 1 and 2. Big hitter early for Cobb. The 1-2 pitch and a foul tip in and out of the middle of Molina. And he's upset or he's hurt. Either way, that's a luck play for a catcher. It's either in the webbing or it's not. And right off his glove.
Really waffled his hand too. That hurt.
No skill involved in that one for a catcher.
Yadier got banged up in Pittsburgh yesterday too on a foul tip.
So we'll do it again. Hey, Drew did a good job fouling off that fastball. He was way behind it. Drew, a little slow roller. Cobb pounces on another one. And take it to the bag. That's a big out and a big 0 to put on the board. 1-0 Red Sox. Buchholz returns. Up in the home fourth. And the heart of their order due up with Zobrist, Longoria, and Myers. And Buchholz drops a breaking ball in for a strike. Zobrist reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning. Buchholz giving up 2 hits and gave up a hit to start the first, then a double to start the second. The second inning, it was a line drive out by Jennings. He shot one toward the right side, and Napoli made the catch, turned it into 2, retiring Loney. It was a big play early in this one. Rays trying to get their offense put in gear. Would have put some runs on the board on Saturday. Keep an eye on that one, and that actually hits the ring, and it stays up there.
George Henry pumped up at first base waiting for it to come down.
Umpires called that a foul ball right off the bat, so once it hits, it's dead, but it stayed up there. That's part of the ring. That would be once it stays up on that ring, it is a dead ball.
Good thing we've got more baseballs.
Yes. I'm sure there are a few up there on the catwalks. And by the way, if you're scoring at home, that's the B ring, John.
Yes, it is.
Mark that as a B ring struck. Now, if that ball would have cascaded down, it's a live ball. Once it hits.
No, it's got to hit fair, doesn't it? A dead ball as soon as it hits it in foul territory.
Right. Zobrist pulls one foul.
I just know it's a 2-stroke penalty in the other sport.
Yes. The 4 rings. The top ring is the A ring. There's A, B, C, D all the way out. It's the C.
The catwalk. They don't count the catwalk. Yeah. Too far out of play.
And another pop up a mile high, and that one gets caught up in the rings as well, and they're going to call that an out.
I don't think so.
Now Joe Madden's going to come out to discuss it. We were told that that is a foul ball in that area, and a dead ball as soon as it hits.
That's tremendous right there.
Data Nemuth called him out, but the other umpires immediately threw their hands in the air to come help out, including first base umpire Paul Emmel.
And they will talk about it.
One almost stayed there too.
Nice play by Salta Lamacchia.
Just kind of trickled on through. Zobrist will stay. So the speaker that is right above is kind of the guide wire. That is right above home plate, but that is determined as foul territory. That speaker right there. And it went up and over that on that walkway above it. So
it's C or D home run.
that makes that a foul ball and a dead ball. And Zobrist still alive.
I almost pulled a Tommy boy on you guys. That was awesome.
The catwalk ground rules, the C or the D. Obviously, if it's in fair territory, it's a home run. But in foul territory, it's immediately a foul ball and no play. It's a dead ball. But the A or the B, you determine whether it's in fair or foul territory first. But it is playable if it's in fair territory. And Zobrist draws the walk. And he raised me right away. And then Joe says foul ball and goes out to make sure the ground rules are understood. But Joe, it does change the rhythm of the umpiring crew and the things that they normally look at. They don't in situations like this because somebody has to keep their eye on the ball up there.
Right. Randy Marsh, the umpire supervisor who's here, really gave us a real good description of everything today. But it is so hard, so technical here, with so much in play that can disturb the action of a baseball that is hit in the air. They've got to be on top of things.
Well, that's technically not a break because they didn't. But that's the first good thing that's happened for the Rays. Some great pitches by Buchholz that were close. 2 foul balls that one would have probably for sure stayed in any other ballpark and been called and been caught. So yeah, the first break and see if they can take advantage of it with their leadoff runner on.
Longoria has the kind of bat to give the Rays the lead quickly. Celebrating his birthday today. Ooh, he had a big cut. Longoria had one to handle and he fouls it back. Longoria is 28 years of age today. He and Alex Cobb sharing the same birthday, and by that much.
Look how still his head is. He's inside the baseball. His head never went forward.
Tell you what, though, against Buchholz, he had that right field approach like he had in Texas. That really is for what Buchholz is doing. They're going to try to get him out of the way. That first 2, he's kind of overswung just a little bit.
But Buchholz, you talk a lot, John, about changing eye level. He's a guy who pitches down, but he's got a good enough fastball. He's done it twice in a row here where he can go upstairs and get away with it.
Leadoff walk. Zobrist at first. And Longoria down in the count 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes. That one did miss by much. Longoria in that tiebreaker game last Monday had 3 hits. He was a triple away from the cycle. And all of his hits were to the opposite field, including a booming 2-run homer.
Loney's willing to take what they give him. He's been going the other way. these other Tampa Bay Rays are going to have to do the same thing.
Loney doubled to start the second. One of the 2 hits against Buchholz. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Longoria. And he misses inside. 2-2.
That was a great pitch for effect. Now they could go back in there, but they've been trying to get out Longoria away, and he's not been able to have much success. This pitch right here just bores in on him. It was a ball, but it had a purpose. Like what Salton-Lockyer does, you notice when he's setting up, he stays there till the last possible moment. So his approach, whatever pitch it is, he's staying over the middle. He's trusting that Buchholz and him are going to connect on whether it's in, out, or up. And he stays patient right there. And in the last minute, it's going to go to the place he wants it to be.
Jumps outside. Longoria fouls it back. And that was the kind of swing that we saw against the Rangers last Monday. That inside-out power swing to the opposite field.
And you got to pitch up again to do that on. Buchholz was a compensation pick. You're talking about Pedro Martinez. When the Red Sox lost Pedro Martinez through free agency, they got a free compensation pick between the 1st and 2nd round. This guy was picked with the 42nd pick, Buchholz.
And a swing and a foul tip. Just got a piece.
I'm telling you, it is, that pitch right there is a lot harder to execute than most people know. That's a front door curveball that never used to be thrown. But the confidence in his break and the delivery he has, you're trying to get a almost back foot right-handed swing over the top. But boy, if you leave that over the middle of the plate, it's 2-1.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
A 2-2. Longoria takes a called strike 3. Buchholz freezes Longoria, comes back inside to get him.
He threw him the kitchen sink this at bat. This is an inside changeup. So that pitch, as you see, to 81 miles an hour, kind of freezes him, and there's no way to really pull the trigger because he went out with fastballs, in with a fastball, front door curveball, away with a curveball, and then a almost front door changeup. Nice shot.
Just got to tip your hat to the pitcher sometimes. That was a great sequence by Buchholz to get his 3rd strikeout. 2 of his 3 Ks have been called strike 3s. And now it'll be Will Myers. Just get the sense that Tampa Bay, they need a spark. They need a big moment. Haven't really had their big moment yet. Down 2-0 in this series.
Well, I'll tell you what they need. They need a mistake over in the right part of the plate where Will Myers has not seen too many of them. He has really been pitched tough.
He almost got one there. That changeup on the first pitch to him had a lot of the plate. He was a little quick on it.
You know, it's a young guy in his first postseason, but they have executed a team plan. Look, scouting is incredible, and when the word gets around in certain game plans, but at being able to execute what you want to do is doubly as impressive for the Red Sox starters.
Now, talking to Joe Madden before the game about the structure of his lineup today, and he's mixed it up a little bit. He dropped Myers from the 2 spot to the 4 spot behind Longoria. He said for 2 reasons. One, to create a power threat behind Longoria, might get Longoria a few more strikes, and then also create more strike opportunities for Myers with Loney, a hot hitter, in the 5-hole behind him. And if the Rays could get James Loney to the plate in this inning with men on base, I'm sure they would feel very comfortable with the way he's been swinging the bat. He gives them their best threat at this point. He's their hottest hitter right now. '22-year-old Will Myers. 1 out, runner at first, Zobrist.
tell you, the postseason can be so cruel or heroic. It's a small sample size for a lot of hitters and pitchers. That's why 162 games you have averages. You have things that work themselves out. If you don't get off to a good start, people are talking about your postseason 1 for 15, 0 for 12, and vice versa. So it's a very difficult monster. That's why it's so mentally tough to deal with what a pitcher and what a team's. You got to take what they give you.
1-2 to Myers. And he's able to lay off, checks his swing. It goes to 2-2.
And don't you feel the reason for that, John, is because of the good pitching? I mean, Evan Longoria may not be able to get past that called third strike he took, but because you're running into such good arms from successful teams, it's increasingly difficult to be able to do what you did during the regular season.
No doubt.
And Myers down the right field line, hit well, got a chance. That ball is foul. Just in front of the foul pole.
But I often used to say, and it's so overlooked, the best player, the best at bat can be that guy that takes that walk. Sometimes hitters in the postseason, you just can't walk them. They don't want to walk. As you see this replay on a fastball, one of the rare fastballs has been able to get extended, even though down the right field line it has that fade to it. It just goes foul. And I think that's as big of a play in a lineup as there is in any one particular thing you can do in a postseason. If you don't want to walk, you're going to have a hard time being successful in a short series.
Zobrist started the inning with a walk. He's at first with one away. And Myers, a swing and a miss. Buchholz comes back to punch him out, and back-to-back Ks. 2 gone in the inning. Say a reminder, be the first to know the latest news on all your teams with Bleacher Report's Team Stream app. Stay one step ahead. Check out Team Stream on your phone's app store today. Clay Buchholz showing you why he was so effective this season.
What a great pitch after the long fly ball to right field. He comes right back and ties him up. It looked like down and in. Goes right over the top of it.
Well, so far now he's given him the gamut. Molina, cutter, swinging. De Jesus, curveball looking. Longoria, changeup looking, and now a fastball. All 4 pitches resulting in strikeouts.
2 outs. Here's Loney. It's Zobrist still at first base. Loney doubled to the opposite field in the second inning. He one-hopped the left center field fence. Saturday, Loney was 2 for 3, had a 2 RBI double. Now 4 for 10 in the postseason.
I talked with John Farrell earlier today, and we asked if there were any restrictions on Clay Buchholz, and he said no, he's good for 110, 115 pitches. He's got 62 here in the 4th, so right, kind of on pace. 15 an inning. You'd like to get a couple 10 or less.
Well, if recovery time between pitches means anything, then he's maximizing that effort.
It is.
All part of the plan.
And it is. And that's why people at home don't understand why, these games take longer. You got longer breaks in between, but you mentally have to approach it. You have to take a little more time to mentally get yourself through the game.
Crowd is quiet for now. Ray's trying to give him something to cheer about. And a strike.
I think to finish that thought, people used to ask me, why couldn't you do what you did in the postseason throughout the whole year? Because that wouldn't make it past 18 starts. There's just no way. I approach the game in a way in the playoffs. You have to approach it as if, A, you may not pitch again. Each inning is going to be like pitching 2.5 innings in a regular season game effort-wise. So it just all has a magnifying effect. And the longer you go, obviously, the more that plays into a shorter offseason. I wish I could have done that every regular season game, but
You've been fried. I think 18 starts for giving yourself too much credit.
yeah.
1-2 the count. Zober still at first base. And Loney rips one to right, a base hit. James Loney developing into quite the story for Tampa Bay, and he moves the line. A single to right. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
Buchholz made a good pitch on him just before this. Good fastball away. James didn't necessarily like the call. Boy, is he zeroed in.
And he just looks like he's taking what the pitch is giving him. He's patient. His hands seem soft. And that's why he's having success.
Coming off his worst season of his career last year with Los Angeles and then Boston at the end. Making the most of it this year with the Rays. Now Desmond Jennings. And Buchholz misses. First time tonight the Rays have had a runner in scoring position. And remember how Zobrist reached. He hit a pop-up that would have been a routine out in any other ballpark, but it hit the catwalk up above the speakers, which made the ball dead. He ended up drawing the walk.
Term at the start of the game, Brian, that Joe Madden said that the Rays got out Fenwayed the first 2 games. You said something about the Rays might have to out Tropicana the Red Sox. Well, that was the first indication on that foul ball.
And now can the Rays take advantage? Boston scored in the first. It was an unearned run. And Tampa Bay with their biggest threat here in the fourth.
You know, seeing the way Loney has been hitting, can't help but remind me of one of the greatest hitters in the history of the game, Tony Gwynn. You threw it in, he pulled it down the line. You threw it away, he hit it the other way. He'd hit the ball up the middle. I'm sure he could have hit more home runs if he wanted to, but his ability to find the baseball where it was pitched and not do more than what that pitch was incredible. And that's why, you know, Hall of Famer, and the fact that his average was the way it was. I mentioned I contributed to that at about a 580 clip.
Buchholz again ahead of the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jennings. Buchholz has 2 Ks in this inning. He got Longoria and Myers. And he's been to 2 strikes on all 5 batters in this frame.
Saw those series of signs. You got a runner at second looking in. There's about 3/4 of those signs are going to be dummy signs, trying to figure out what the indicator is or where they're going. The longer looks you have at second, obviously, the more you can decipher what they're using or what trends they're going with. That's why the less people you have at second, the better chances you have for success.
Pitch number 30 of the inning for Buchholz. 2-2 to Jennings. And it's in the dirt. And now the runners will get a head start.
And that's why, as a catcher, you never want to give away location too early, because that's one thing a runner can relay to the hitter. That would be a very important piece of information to know if you're a hitter, knowing if the ball is in or away. You can eliminate some pitches, typically, if it's one or the other.
Buchholz has used a lot of energy this inning with some deep counts. A lot of stressful pitches.
Both runners will start with a pitch. Rays down a run here in the fourth. Here we go. Jennings takes ball 4. Bases loaded for Tampa Bay.
There's your walk, John.
Yep.
Borderline pitch.
Great at bat. A lot of good cat and mouse going on between pitcher and hitter. And of course, trying to get him to bite right here on an outside part of the plate. He didn't do it. Now it'll be interesting to see what Boston does with this shift they've been putting on with Joyce. Bases are loaded. I don't think they can do quite what they're used to doing by having Pedroia way out in right field. So more traditional defense with the shortstop up the middle.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. The hometown kid, Matt Joyce. His first start of the series. Great numbers with bases loaded, including 4 grand slams in his career. Strike one.
What a spot for him. He had a horrible September. Went 5 for 56 in September. That really cost him some playing time down the stretch and in the game 163 and in the wild card. And now he's got a chance to really do some damage here.
Time run over at third. Go ahead run at second. And Joyce pops it foul. And that's going to head into the seats.
I always think that the biggest decision you make with the bases loaded and a hitter up is what is he thinking? Like, you're trying to guess with him. Is he going to be aggressive? Is he trying to get this crowd going? He threw a great fastball away that even if he was thinking of jumping him on the first pitch, that was the pitch you wanted him to hit, and he got a called strikeout.
Did you see Buchholz too? I mean, as soon as Saltalamacchia pulled up over at the railing, as soon as Jared turned around, Buchholz was already in his ear. He already knew what he wanted to do on the next pitch.
And it will be a big one.
That was very Maddox-like.
Bases full of Rays. Buchholz has had every hitter in this inning to 2 strikes. 0-2 to Joyce. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. Buchholz, a grinder of a 4th, but he puts up a 0.
Shutout innings this year for Buchholz against Tampa Bay.
Will Middlebrooks will lead off for Boston. Alex Cobb got out of a jam himself in the 4th inning. First 2 reach for Boston, Ortiz and Napoli, and then Cobb able to retire the next 3 hitters. Very similar to what he was able to do a lot against the Cleveland Indians on Wednesday in the wild card game.
What's this do to his psyche, though, John? I mean, he's out there doing everything he can to keep this close, pitching out of that jam last inning, and then to come up empty again on the run support. It's got to be wearing on him.
Well, it's a dangerous inning. You tell yourself as a pitcher, there's nothing you can do. You can't control that part, so what you do is you do your part. But it gets, you know, it does get frustrating. You notice the chances and the opportunities. Boston's had 6 2-out runs. Those are backbreakers, but the inability to score, like Joe Madden has talked to us before the game, with runners in scoring position, it wears on everybody. And so you really try to focus on those 3 hitters or whatever you're going to face in the inning, but it has a carryover effect.
And so much hinges on the first batter of an inning. Cobb trying to put Middlebrooks away, and he did. Swing and a miss, and a pump of the fist for Alex Cobb. 1 gone. Moments ago, we spoke with Rays manager Joe Madden.
Well, that's just been part of our problem versus this team this year. Unable to get that big hit with runners in scoring position, but there's plenty of game left. Alex has really looked very composed and throwing the ball extremely well right now, so he's got to keep fighting.
And our thanks to Joe Madden. He talked about runners in scoring position. That's been a constant theme for him this entire series, and he is the epitome of confidence when it comes to big league managers. Not that there's a whole lot of cheerleading going on, Joe, in that dugout right now, but that was a deflating strikeout early in this game for the Rays with the bases loaded.
Well, we keep saying they need something big to happen. They've got to break out and get everybody loosened up in that dugout. Hitting becomes contagious when somebody gets that one hit to kind of break through.
2 for 16 with runners in scoring position in this series.
That's a killer.
Top of the order, Ellsbury.
You know, it's hard to tip your hat, but sometimes you got to tip your hat to the other guy, execute the pitches. And I think at this time of the year, though, the guys that can slow the game down the most have the better chance to be able to recognize to go the other way, be able to do the little things, take what they give you. And so far, and execution-wise, yeah, you can look to the 2 for 16. You can say, man, they've had their chances. But Boston pitchers have pretty much put the ball where they wanted to so far in the series.
Ellsbury down the line, off the glove of Loney. And Ellsbury thinking about 2, and he's on his way. Zobrist's throw is late. And a hustle double for Jacoby Ellsbury. Flying around the bases to get himself into scoring position.
Well, this is great hustle on his part, and you pretty much had this figured after it went off the glove of Loney that he was going to go for 2. But then when Ellsbury gets to second base. I think he lost sight of the ball and where it went, and it looked like he might try to go to third.
And Ellsbury.
And when he did, Escobar's standing there with the ball in his glove like, no, I got the ball here. That was funny.
Ellsbury with 2 more hits tonight. A single and a double. And here is Victorino now. And they're going to check to see if Ellsbury missed the bag at first. He did not. So the double stands. He
right
got
in
it.
the middle.
Ellsbury scored the first run, first and only run. Came in on a throwing error by Zobrist. That was in the first inning. Now it's second for Victorino. He takes strike 1.
I tell you, there's some pressure on the middle infielders here. Of course, Escobar can't do anything. He's playing in the hole. But the second baseman's job is to try as best as he can to keep Ellsbury close to that bag. He will steal third. He will time the pitcher. So you've got to pay attention to him. It's the easiest place to fall asleep a little bit as a pitcher. You're going through your series of signs. You know he's there. If you don't keep your looks and vary your looks, he can time you and go to third quickly.
And a high bouncing ball, and it's past Escobar. He throws to third. Close play, safe the call. Just fumbled enough with it. Did Escobar, but almost got the out. There was no chance he was going to throw out Victorino, and Ellsbury almost runs into an out.
This was almost a brilliant play by Escobar, throwing behind him. Actually throwing ahead of him. That was very close.
Might have got him.
Yeah.
Bang, bang over at third base.
Well, when you see the play at first, it looked like the reason for the bobble is Escobar was looking to throw this ball before it actually got in his glove. He made a nice actual rally to get the ball, and it was very close at third base.
He might very well have been tagged on the thigh before his foot hit the base.
Ellsbury at third. Victorino credited with an infield hit. Took a big bounce over the head of Longoria.
This is where Pedroia is so tough. He could shoot it through the second base hole as good as anybody.
First and third, 1 out. Pedroia takes a ball. This will be our best look at it here. It's close from every angle.
Barry Vanover, the third base umpire, that was extremely close.
Irregardless, Ellsbury needs to slide in that play, and it probably wouldn't even have been that close, but he chose to go standing up.
You saw Pedroia deliver a sacrifice fly earlier in this series on the first pitch when he came up, and it was a good choice there by Cobb and Molina to not throw him a strike on the first pitch, hoping he might chase a bad ball.
Might see Victorino take off here. Got a great contact hitter at the plate in Pedroia. He stays put. A swing and a miss coming out of his shoes. Pedroia. And a ball and a strike.
He must have a lot of shoes because he comes out of them quite often.
Yeah, he does. Victorino started then stopped over at first.
Long stride, head still though. Strike creates a bit of an uppercut.
And that gets by Molina. Here comes Ellsbury. Play at the plate, and the throw gets away. Ellsbury scores. A good throw, and the Rays have a chance at an out. Instead, another miscue by the Rays, and another run is in. 2-0 Boston.
Well, it's a lot easier to play this game when you're up 2-0, and being aggressive as they have at every turn. They've done everything that you can do to be aggressive, and to this point it's all worked. A fraction here, a throw here, and the results are different. But because they have speed and because they take advantage of what the team gives them, that's why they have the lead, and that's why they're up 2 games to none.
Well, Cobb put himself in a perfect position to slide and make the catch and tag, but it gets away from him, and that'll be a wild pitch that allows the run to score. 2-0 Boston. Ellsbury is in, scoring both runs. Victorino advances to second base, and still just 1 out.
It's so frustrating for the Tampa Bay Rays too to know that they're not beating you tonight. You know, they're giving up an unearned run in the first, and now a wild pitch scores a run. It's not like Boston's tearing them up offensively like they did in the first 2 games. Cobb's done a great job, but the wild pitch very costly there.
2-1 to Pedroia, make it 3-1 now.
Well, you can see some angst a little bit, you know, as a pitcher. Again, we talked about this was a dangerous inning emotionally to get through it. He's given up the 1 run. He's pulled a couple pitches now. You've got to get in the back of the mound. You've got to clear your mind and make sure that you refocus that this is it. That's all they get. You constantly have to talk to yourself out of the aggression when things don't go the way you want them to go.
Jim Hickey on the phone to the Rays bullpen. Cobb with 1 away. Hitters count to Pedroia. Strike 2.
And you said at the beginning of this inning, John, it was going to be a big inning, given the Rays had left the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 4th inning.
Alex Torres will start his throwing in the pen. Close call that didn't go the way of the Rays on Ellsbury at third. He scores on a wild pitch. Way off is a bouncer to Zobrist. 2 outs. Victorino advances to third. And that'll bring up David Ortiz. David Ortiz in our innovative stat, brought to you by Nissan. And even at 37 years of age, he is among the best in the American League in OPS, on base plus slugging percentage. Sitting 4th in the American League this year. Miguel Cabrera, Chris Davis, Mike Trout of the Angels, and then Ortiz.
And they've made a conscious decision, at least Cobb has, to pitch around him. The first at bat he walked him. The second one he really pitched around him. Tried to see if Ortiz would chase any pitch. I would see no different approach here with 2 outs and a runner on third.
2 gone. Ortiz takes 1 high.
Yeah, you really don't lose anything if you pitch around him here and walk him, other than the fact you've got 2 runners on base, but you at least set up a force play at second and work to a right-handed hitter.
Well, breaks in baseball come in waves. Question is for the Tampa Bay Rays, can they survive long enough to have the break start to turn their way? Thought they had one on that high pop-up by Zobrist that hit the catwalk. He ended up walking. But think about how this inning has gone down for the Red Sox. Ellsbury hit a shot. Loney, a very good defender, went right off his glove and trickles far enough away that it ends up as a double for Ellsbury. The close call at third, the wild pitch. And Ortiz to the opposite field, an RBI single. 3-0 Boston. And one of the best in the business in spots like that, David Ortiz comes through again.
That's a big league at bat right there.
Yep. And people at home are saying, why can't somebody do that every single time? And I think they can. I really do. And I think he had a determined approach with no shortstop there to say, you know what, I know how they've been pitching me first bat, second at bat. I'm just going to take a nice little approach right here, hit it the other way. Easy RBI.
And with nobody between Longoria and the second base bag, I mean, he hit this ball sharply, but all he had to do was hit a ground ball through there.
RBI single with 2 outs for David Ortiz. His 3rd ribby of the League Division Series. And Ellsbury and Victorino, as they have done this entire series, jump-starting the offense for Boston.
You mentioned the aggressiveness of being ahead 2-0, John. I think about that extra base that Ellsbury hustled into. That was the start of the inning, was his hustle to take advantage of that bounce off of Loney's glove.
One of the most underrated coaches, I think, in baseball that a lot of people don't know, Greg Colden, hitting coach for Boston, has done a great job in his approach and the way they set up, how they look at film and how they look at pitchers and what a pitcher's trying to do to his team. Great job.
Napoli in a hole 0-2. 3-0 Red Sox. Top of the 5th. Ball and 2 strikes. Buchholz getting out of the jam in the bottom of the 4th. He struck out Matt Joyce with the bases loaded, and the Red Sox immediately put 2 on the board. Napoli singled to right off Cobb on a breaking ball in the 4th. Bouncing ball, Escobar, plenty of time. And that will retire the side. And the Rays giving another one away on a wild pitch before Big Papi Atzold. And they are getting very anxious here in Rays Nation. Down 3-0 to Buchholz and the Red Sox as we go to the home 5th. Yunel Escobar will lead off. Boston with 2 in the top of this frame. Ortiz has the only RBI of the night. First run came in on an error. Second run on a wild pitch, and then Ortiz with a 2-out RBI single. And as airtight as the Red Sox have been in just about every facet of the game, the Rays have not. And it has cost them. Little jam shot, roller up the middle, right by the bag. Drew throws, not in time. Base hit. Infield hit for Escobar.
Stephen Drew has great range, but when this ball got to second base, watch his glove hit the bag. I don't know if it slowed him down any or not. It's almost like he got his glove stuck on the base a little bit. Might have been a difference. Good start for Tampa Bay.
It is the 4th time in the 5 innings tonight that Tampa Bay has had their leadoff batter reach base. And so far, they are 0 for 3 scoring that leadoff batter. Here's Jose Molina. Narrowly missed a home run back in the 3rd. Buchholz ended up striking him out. Looking for his first hit of the postseason.
That broke up a string of 10 straight batters that Buchholz had gotten the 2 strikes on. His last 5 outs have been Ks. So he has put a lot of pressure on the Rays hitters by getting into counts that you dream of. Necessarily 2 strikes, put away pitches.
Well, and on your theory of pitches in the postseason and Clay Buchholz having to wrestle through a 30-plus pitch inning, you wonder how much that's going to take out of him moving ahead to the 5th inning.
Yeah, if I'm a manager, I look at that inning and look forward, saying that lessened an inning's worth of work. He had to work awfully hard to get through it. Unless he has some quick innings here, a double play here, and a 10-12 pitch inning, I would think that would lessen the load by an inning.
34 pitch inning, stranding the bases loaded in the 4th while striking out the side. And he's fallen behind 2-0 on Jose Molina.
And on the flip side for the Rays, you can't help but start counting outs, meaning that closer for the Red Sox has been pretty filthy, and he could come in for 2 innings. It's not removed for John Farrell to say, I can pitch him more than an inning. So you start counting outs, you got to get on the board quickly.
And needs 15 outs, does Farrell at this point. There's Molina, center field. Back is Ellsbury. And there is out number 1. Molina is 0 for 2. Well, if the Rays do come back and win this game and force a Game 4, our upcoming schedule brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. It'll start at 8:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Jake Peavy set to get the ball for Game 4 for Boston. Jeremy Hellickson for the Tampa Bay Rays. And then if there is a Game 5, it'll be at Fenway Park after an off day and a travel day Wednesday. That'll be Thursday on TBS at 5:30 Eastern. The Rays are hoping that comes to fruition. Joe Madden said Boston is lovely this time of year and would love to return in a couple of days. Top of the order to Jesus. 1 out, runner at first.
Ball Molina hit the center, was hit well, but anything between the 370 marks and the gaps in the center field area is no man's land. Ball just, you've really got to crack one to hit it over the fence in that part of the ballpark.
Tampa Bay on Saturday was able to scratch out some runs once they got behind, and on 3 different occasions they had at least a tying run come to the plate. Ultimately lost that game 7-4. As DeJesus rifles one in the gap right center. That's going to get 2-0. Escobar racing around the bags. He'll be held at third on a double by DeJesus.
Great swing. Something the Rays really needed was a good hit. I mean, was a big hit and another pitch up from Buchholz.
But Victorino did one of the best jobs you can do in right field. He got to this ball so quickly and threw it in and forced the third base coach to hold him out. There's not too many right fielders that would have got to that ball and played it perfectly. That's a run for most people. Tom Foley had to make sure and not run his team into an out at home, and the reason that's the case is because of Victorino playing this ball.
Talked about 3 center fielders out there for the Red Sox, and Victorino, the Gold Glove winner, a heck of a play there.
Big double by DeJesus, second and third, and here is Zobrist. They'll ask if he went. Yes, he did. Unable to check his swing. Larry Vanover not making many friends here in St. Pete. You be the judge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a swing.
No doubt.
That camera's inside the third base dugout, but that's a great look. So it's 0-1 from up above. Red Sox 3-0. Rays need a big hit.
They need a big hit, but they also need a run. Even a ground ball to the right side puts a run on the board for the first time this year against Buchholz, and it moves DeJesus to third base.
17 scoreless against Buchholz. 2 hits in the inning. Ball and a strike on Zobrist. And a swing and a miss. Had him out in front.
Zobrist has been so quick to the fastball with the barrel of the bat, but the changeup and slow pitches give him a little bit more fits, and that's a great example of pitching to the situation and down, getting him aggressively trying to attack a fastball, but the arm speed made it look like a fastball and actually a changeup.
That's how he got Joyce last inning, was with an outstanding changeup away with the bases loaded.
That's Escobar over at third. He singled, double by DeJesus. Buchholz has Zobrist down in the count. And 1-2 is popped up in the infield. Stephen Drew will call it. And the second out. And the Rays now 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position.
And this is what we were talking about. This out of the zone. Not much you can do with that pitch, but because you try to make something happen, it just exasperates everything that's been going on. Now you've got your star at the plate, but a pitcher knows he's the star. And you can, in all intents and purposes, walk him if you want to, pitching around him. I know you never want to put the winning run or the go-ahead run at home plate, but if you don't like the way that count's going, that's exactly what's going to happen.
He might look for that changeup early in the count here. He struck out on it and took it last time up.
2 outs in the inning. Second and third for the Rays. Longoria jumps on the first pitch, pulls it foul. Buchholz has had just 1 clean inning tonight. Had a 3-up, 3-down third. Stranded the bases loaded last inning.
Come on, Evan!
Worked around a leadoff double in the second, and he left 1 man aboard in the first. it gets. When the Rays needed a moment, Evan Longoria just delivered one.
I think he got that changeup too. That's the big one they needed.
I'll tell you what, that first base was looking awfully big to me as a pitcher.
Third and call, Longoria. All tied at 3. Will Myers with 2 away. And Buchholz starts him with a breaking ball. Longoria struck out with a runner on in the 4th. A frustrating at-bat for him. It's a beautiful game of redemption, though, and he delivers what the Rays needed the most here in the 5th.
The second homer by a right-handed hitter, right? For Buchholz. Again, just a gorgeous swing for Longoria, very upright stance, head still, and a changeup launched into the seats.
All in a strike on Myers. Upstairs, 2-1.
Some hitters you can get out the same way 2, 3, 4 times in a game. Great hitters you can't. They remember how you got them out, and you've got to find different windows and different areas to go to. He went to the well just a little bit too often there. It's easy to say that now, but a great hitter, that's why that moment right there, you got to let somebody else possibly beat you, but superstar showed up.
This whole series so far, we've seen the Red Sox make really good adjustments offensively. And up to that point, the only guy I had seen make an adjustment for Tampa Bay was James Loney, until that big hit there by Longoria, and he went up looking for something off speed and got it. He had a plan.
How about that for a birthday present? Sugg delivered. Hitters count for Myers. And ball 4. Myers draws the walk. And the Rays keep it rolling in the 5th inning.
Well, this is a good visit to the mound. Get him back on page. The bullpen's going to get going a little bit. But again, to your point, this ball's in. He drops his hands. Wow.
So much power. He doesn't even hit that on the sweet spot. And it still has enough to go out. Got it slightly on the end. And Buchholz watching the whole way.
You're just grinding in your mind like, fight, fight.
Tie game. Evan Longoria is playing in his 29th career postseason game tonight. That's his 9th career postseason home run. And the expression never changes over there for Joe Madden.
No, that's why they're handling these circumstances the last few years better than most. They're ready for it. They're patient. They believe even after everything that could possibly go wrong, they're right back in the ball game.
Myers at first with Loney at the plate. And he's 2 for 2 against Buchholz. And is John Farrell taking a risk by leaving Buchholz in against Loney in a spot like this? Loney's had the best swings all night against Clay Buchholz. Loney, when facing elimination, has been at his best. And that's what the Rays are facing here tonight. It's their 4th elimination game in the last 8 days.
Three-run homers are so rare in the postseason, mainly because they're facing a lot of great pitching and top-of-the-line rotation. But that 3-run homer with 2 outs couldn't have been more momentum for a team that's searching for something to go their way.
James Loney, 3 for 3. 2 on with 2 out after the Longoria homer. John Farrell and Juan Nieves might be forced to get into their bullpen right now. All started a big double by DeJesus. Workman is ready. But the decision for Farrell, does he stick with Buchholz in a spot like this with Jennings coming up? And he's going to let it ride. Go ahead run at second base. 2 outs in the inning.
Been up in the zone this whole inning.
Try to get over the shock to your system. You've been getting out of the last inning jam. You almost were out of a second and third, 1 out. You got to reset your brain to get right back onto the same attack that you had with patience with all your pitches.
Desmond Jennings, I want Will Myers to just be calm out there as a runner at second. Don't dance around too much. Distract me.
1-1. Jennings, high pop up. And misses all the traffic near the roof. And that will retire the side. But when the stage is the biggest, the lights the brightest, the big star delivers. Evan Longoria ties it up. We're all tied at 3 as we head to the Boston 6th, and Joe Madden will bring on his second Alex of the night. This time it's Alex Torres.
He's going to come right after you with a fastball. It's not 95 or 96. I don't think the hitters see it too well. Good arm swing, over the top fastball, 2-seamer, and a changeup movement.
Alex Cobb gives up 3 runs, 2 of them earned in his 5 innings, and now Torres takes over and zips one in for strike 1. Red Sox will have Nava, the switch hitter, then Saltalamacchia, a switch hitter, followed by the lefty Stephen Drew.
Torres pitched an inning in game 1 and looked good. 3 up and 3 down, struck out 2.
Had some incredible stretch in the regular season. It's unhittable.
We were talking to John Farrell before the ball game about managing in his first postseason, and he immediately went to the decisions you make as a manager with pitching changes and how long to leave a certain pitcher out there. And he was remembering specifically about moments in 2008 when Terry Francona was managing, and some of the debates that they had about leaving particular players. And of course he came up with the Josh Beckett ball game, and how things are so much different on his side of the fence now as a manager as opposed to a pitching coach. And a spot where he let Buchholz stay in, and with a base open at first, they challenged Evan Longoria, and he made him pay.
Can I just tell you, in a regular season game, when my manager asked me to sit on the bench who he thought I should bring in, and I gave him a suggestion, and he did, I thought I was going to throw up the rest of the inning. And it didn't work out.
Put you on the spot.
It didn't work out. The last time he ever asked me.
Those are the toughest decisions to make, and especially when you play from hindsight, you just don't know. And just as you tip your hat, Buchholz making big pitches in the 4th inning, you got to tip your hat to Longoria. And Torres starts the inning with a strikeout. 1 gone. As we check in at our Atlanta studios with Keith Olbermann. Keith. He is the epitome of a horse, and the Dodgers going for the haymaker.
Well, I think
Kershaw on the mound.
I think it's great strategy from the standpoint you've got Greinke to back up on full rest. So it's not like you're bringing both guys back. One guy has to come back on short rest. So why not have 2 shots out of the 2 best pitchers on their team?
Dodgers can advance with a win tonight. The Braves in an elimination scenario. Bouncing ball to have the shift on. That's going to find a hole. And Jared Saltalamacchia with a base hit.
Escobar didn't appear to pick that ball up too well. He got a real poor jump on it, and I know that he's playing him to pull, so there was a lot of room between Escobar and the bag, but he didn't react right away.
Shaking his head.
I think this went right through the pitcher a little bit, where it might have pitcher looked like he was reaching for it. Well, nah.
Long way for Escobar to go. Second look.
Rays put on a lot of shifts, and it typically works out to their advantage. It did not that time. So a runner at first. Stephen Drew at the plate. Sounded like he broke his bat as Torres gets ahead of him.
Drew was one of the guys that Torres faced in game 1 and struck him out.
Buchholz still with the towel around his arm. Red Sox bullpen is quiet. After the home run, he gave up a walk and a single, but was able to retire Jennings to get out of the inning with the game still tied.
Just think about all the emotional changes that took place when Rays didn't score in that big inning. And Boston scored 2 strange runs, and then 2 outs, 1 swing changed the game back to a tie.
Alex Torres, hard throwing lefty. His pitch arsenal. Fastball, changeup predominantly.
And his breaking ball is a slider.
And Drew pops this one up. Going to be a tough play. Longoria comes over. Now Escobar ranges over to make the catch. Escobar had a long way to go and able to run it down. Nice play by the Rays shortstop for the second out.
Any shortstop worth his salt wants the ball. He wants it. He wants every ball that goes in the air. He wants every ground ball hit to his side of the infield, and Escobar's no different, calling Longoria off on that one.
So 2 men are out. Still a runner at first, Saltalamacchia, and it's Will Middlebrooks. Middlebrooks is 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out in his last turn. Has played his way back into that everyday role at third base. And a wild ride for Middlebrooks the last 3 years. He just turned 25 on September 9th. Put himself on the Boston map in 2011. Climbed 3 levels that year. Had a big home run and RBI season through all of those levels, including the major leagues. Middlebrooks had a broken right wrist last August, and with the benefit of time, and you see the way his season has gone, which has been up and down, sitting down to the minor leagues before being called up in August. You wonder if that fractured wrist had a lot to do with his struggles offensively. Hitting 9th in this Red Sox batting order. Torres has him down 0-2. There he goes. Torres strikes him out. 2 Ks in the 6th. Clay Buchholz back on the mound. He will return for a 6th inning. Matt Joyce leads off. Rays have the bottom of their order coming up. Joyce, Escobar, and Molina. And it was the bottom of the order, specifically Escobar, who started the rally in the 5th. Capped off by an Evan Longoria 3-run home run. Red Sox scored an unearned run in the 1st. They added 2 in the 5th inning. The 2nd run of the game came in on a wild pitch, and then David Ortiz had a 2-out RBI single to the opposite field. And that one swing of the bat by Longoria changed the way this game looks. As Joyce pops it into foul territory, a lot of room. Middlebrooks makes the catch. And Buchholz retires his first batter faced.
His changeup command is not quite what it was earlier, John, and certainly the home run hit by Longoria is one piece of evidence there. But even the second pitch to Joyce, it was up out of the zone of ball, but he's missing up. And that's not a good place for changeups.
No, and you get to that point in the game where you're trying to squeeze out probably 2 or 3 hitters at max in this inning. He's at 100 pitches. Location becomes more of an issue when you get a little bit tired and you get up there in pitch selection or pitch counts. So that's where you grind. In these kind of innings, you grind on location more than anything else.
Escobar, the free swinger, always looking to swing away early, and knowing that, Buchholz drops in a strike. Escobar had a little jam shot single that started the 5th inning. De Jesus, a key hit, had a double into the gap. John Farrell stuck with Clay Buchholz, and despite a walk and a single and this crowd going crazy with the potential go-ahead runs aboard, Buchholz was able to get Jennings to get out of the inning. And Farrell will let him ride here in the 6th. Escobar late pops it up. Napoli wants it, and there is out number 2. Coming up next here on TBS, elimination day for the Atlanta Braves. They are in Los Angeles, and Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. MLB postseason pregame on TBS presented by Jeep, and then it's A's Tigers game 4, Red Sox Rays game 4 if necessary tomorrow from St. Pete, and then following the game, the postseason show on TBS presented by Johnny Walker.
Oakland A's are scoring runs after that wild game they had the other night, that scoreless battle for so long. Broke out the bats today.
Molina on the first pitch. Middlebrooks, foul territory. Now back into fair territory to make the catch to win the inning. And Buchholz delivers a good one for the Red Sox. To the 7th, all time. Man for the Rays, John, is Joel Peralta, and with the top of the order coming up, he'll enter in the 7th.
Yeah, look for, again, motion as his deception, but so is that changeup. It really doesn't come out of his hand. Hitter has to be patient and wait to throw a fastball, curveball / slider, and that changeup. Just doesn't get the home plate.
He likes to pitch backwards and throw it early in the count too. I'm surprised Torres isn't in there to face Ellsbury.
Peralta is very good against left-handed hitters as well with that great changeup. Ellsbury fouls this one away. This is a swing inning for Tampa Bay. They have not been able to contain Ellsbury and Victorino much at all in this series. And those 2 batters in front of Ortiz on base 4 times tonight. Ellsbury's 2 out of 3. Victorino's 1 for 2. And a hit by pitch.
I'm not saying they were glad that Middlebrooks made an out last inning, but they're always better when Ellsbury leads off an inning.
How about those numbers? 7 for 12 so far. 2 more runs scored tonight. Peralta gives Joe Maddon a lot of flexibility. He's been terrific in the setup role in front of Rodney. But you kind of pitch the roles when you're in the postseason, especially when you're facing elimination. And this is the part of the lineup that the Rays have had a lot of trouble with. Ellsbury doesn't bite on that changeup. And now the count in his favor, 2-1.
We're giving him an opportunity if he wants to take it to the left side with that changeup. If he wants to go between Escobar and Longoria, there's about a mile, mile and a half, 2 miles worth of dirt over there.
Ellsbury hit a rocket off the glove of Loney in the 5th. He worked it for a double. Kind of trickled away from Loney into foul territory. And he hammers that one. Caught by Zobrist. Line drive out. 1 gone in the 7th. Good time to take a look at our core performers, brought to you by iShares by BlackRock. And you see the starting pitchers tonight. Clay Buchholz still out there, 6 innings, 3 runs, 1 swing of the bat, producing those 3 runs. Alex Cobb pitching on his birthday, 5 innings, gives up 3 runs. The first one was unearned. And for more, log on to BleacherReport.com/core performers. The Red Sox have Craig Breslow in the bullpen, so it appears that Buchholz is done.
Gunner at the plate.
Victorino tonight hit by a pitch for the 2nd time of the series. Had an infield hit and a run scored in the 5th. Part of the group of players that the Red Sox brought in once they cleared some payroll with that trade with the Dodgers. Made an effort to bring in high character postseason experienced players like Victorino and Gomes, Napoli, David Ross. From worst to first. And the best record in the American League this season. They took full advantage of their home field advantage by winning the first 2 games and putting the Rays on the brink. Out in front, high fly ball to Jesus. Had a long way to go, but covers it for out number 2. And Peralta retires Ellsbury and Victorino to start this 7th inning.
Where we open up with Game 3 and we talk about the stadium and its quirks and the rings and the A, B, C, D, and it's come into play almost twice in a row. Had a lot of fly balls. No one's had any issues yet. And a couple hit.
There's a Super Mario element to all pop-ups. Yes, it is. You know, and the bonus up there. Zobrist hit a couple of those railings twice. One of them actually worked to the Rays' advantage. Would have been a routine out. That hit up there and stuck. Zobrist ended up walking later in the at-bat. Two outs. Pedroia at the plate. He is 0 for 3. And a strike. Got the corner. 0-2 on Pedroia.
Well, that's just a paint. I mean, that's a lot of motion, falling towards first base side, but he threw the ball to the glove and got rewarded with the call.
And a hurry pitch. Almost snuck one by Pedroia. We saw Peralta do that in Cleveland. It's not illegal. But the little hurry pitch without the hesitation. And just missed.
Really a good move for a guy who works out of the stretch all the time, even with no runners on base.
checks a swing. Quick little safe call by Paul Immel. 2-2 to Dustin Pedroia.
Overhead view. See, he kept the bat behind the plate. He's gone hard on him the last 2 pitches, one being a quick pitch to see if he slows him down with something off speed. Trying to maybe guess that Pedroia's a little bit late on the approach of his fastball.
I think he's late because he's looking away. He's trying to think middle of the plate away on him. He's a little tardy on that one offering.
2-2. Peralta deals and he bounces it in. Spiked the changeup, and now 3 balls and 2 strikes with David Ortiz looming large on deck.
Scouting report on Peralta is that in these situations he just doesn't give in. I'd be surprised to see him throw a fastball unless he can throw one where he threw a minute ago that was, as John said, painting the outside corner.
His best pitch, the changeup. Does he go with his bread and butter in a 3-2 count? Pedroia had a power outage at the plate this year. On 174 at-bats without a home run from July to September. That doesn't mean he can't strike for one at any time. Payoff pitch. Peralta, fly ball right field. Myers, foul territory, and Joel Peralta makes 3 hard outs look easy. 1, 2, 3, 7th. And it's time to turn it over to the public. 6 and a 3-up, 3-down 6 to finish his night.
Breslow, another sneaky left-hander, fastball, cutter, and slider. Pitched an inning and 2/3. 18 pitches in game 2.
And Rodriguez, who faced him on Saturday, pops up on the first pitch. Middlebrooks is there. The last 5 outs for the Tampa Bay Rays have been pop-ups. Rodriguez out quickly. 1 gone for Breslow, and here is Ben Zobrist. Have to ask him after the game, was he more nervous playing this game or watching and listening to his wife perform the national anthem and God Bless America? She did a great job.
Breslow was on the mound in game 2 when the Rays had got within 6-4, and he was able to get a big double play behind him in the 7th inning.
Bouncing ball, that's going to get through. A base hit. Ben Zobrist is aboard. And the table is set for Evan Longoria with 1 out.
Be one of your little delay tactics here. Talk to the pitcher. Pretend like you're going over strategy of a situation. Maybe buying time for the right-hander who's warming up for the Red Sox. And here comes John Farrell.
Junichi Tazawa in the Red Sox bullpen. Let's take it back. 5th inning, 2 out, 3-0 Boston. 1 swing of the bat. All tied up. Longoria, his 9th career postseason home run. Homers on his birthday. Breslow's out. We'll set up Tazawa when we continue.
6 against him.
Well, the only thing you worry about here from Tazawa is he got quick. He got ready quick. I mean, he was firing it down there trying to get ready. They're used to that. But it was serious hurry up mode.
Yeah, that's a great point. Split finger specialist here. Tazawa, man at first. Tie ball game, bottom 7 with Longoria at the plate. And that gets away from Saltalamacchia. Zobrist to second base. Saltalamacchia didn't do a very good job trying to block that pitch. And that's a huge base for the Rays. Not only is that the go-ahead run, but it takes the Red Sox out of a double play chance.
At first, I thought he got crossed up, but not so. Tried to backhand that ball in the dirt.
That will officially go down as a wild pitch, and it's the right call, but every catcher in the big leagues is expected to block that one. Now a base hit, the Rays will take the lead. The half swing didn't mean to do it. Foul ball, strike.
That pitch at 95.
Well, again, first base is open. When you're on the mound, that's a huge deal facing the best hitter on the other team. So you don't have to be perfect. And I think that fastball even surprised Longoria there, thinking, you know, maybe they're going to pitch around me, throw me some stuff off and away from the plate. And he fired a fastball right there.
Red Sox had a base open with Longoria at the plate of the fifth. They went after him and he hit the home run. Ball and a strike. And Longoria fouls it away. He's late on a 95-mile-an-hour heater from Tazawa.
When Tazawa comes out of his stretch, he throws his glove toward home plate. It almost looks like he freezes for a split second, and that can really mess up your timing too, because then his arm action is so fast, it's like a blur after that quick firing of the glove. Very deceptive.
Longoria asked for and is granted time. Saltalamacchia on his way out. Red Sox are doing a good job keeping Zobrist close at second. The wild pitch is always possible with Tazawa and any split finger fastball pitcher. Zobrist getting to third base in a spot like this with just one out would be huge. Saltalamacchia has got to be on his toes behind the plate. Ball and 2 strikes on Longoria. And a fastball miss, 96. 2-2.
If this were a chance for Longoria to tie the game or needing a home run to win the game with a 2-run homer, you might see him have a different approach. But as much trouble as he's had against Tazawa, especially with as much room as he's got to the right side, you might see him try to go the other way and get that go-ahead run in with a base hit.
Here's a 2-2. And Longoria down the right field line. Long run. Victorino will watch it bounce foul. Oh, Shane Victorino almost ran that ball down.
Such a luxury to have. Your outfielders cover so much space. You got a great jump on this ball and came within, you know, a few feet being able to get a huge out.
Most right fielders go about halfway and turn around and go back to their position.
Victorino, longtime center fielder, and has played a lot of center field for the Red Sox this year when Ellsbury was down with an injury. Another 2-2 pitch from Tazawa. Longoria pops it up and over some of the rings. And it's caught. Middlebrooks. And a big out for the Red Sox as Tazawa retires Longoria for out number 2.
That's not an easy play here. As you said earlier, Brian, for the outfielders, you're not going to see anybody Cadillacing getting under fly balls. Same with these infielders. That ball was up into the rings and not an easy play. Trying to judge it.
See Longoria motioning. He's talking about the pitch selection, saying that's the split. Try to get my hands in front of me. He just popped it up. He throws it a little harder than Uehara's split finger fastball.
That's 6 straight pop-up outs.
I'll tell you, this would be the place. If you ever wanted to fake like you couldn't see it in the outfield, this would be it. Having it the whole time to try and bait a runner. But everybody has handled the pop-ups today, and some very tall one's pretty good.
Will Myers in a big spot. 2 outs. Zobrist at second base. And time was called and granted. That was a late timeout call. Home plate umpire does not have to give the batter timeout. Myers, you can see him asking for it, and Dana Demuth feels out. So no pitch.
Typically get an earful from the umpire on that too, for asking you to call it a little earlier next time.
Strike. Fastball spotted well on the corner, and it's 0-1 on Myers.
Tell you what, up and away, up over the middle. Will Myers crushes. They have not given him any of those pitches in this series. Matter of fact, pitching him tougher location-wise than most of the Rays hitters.
Boy, buckled his knees, but he didn't get the call. And it's a ball and a strike on Myers.
Boston's defense is set up and just didn't catch the inside corner edge. They're set up trying to hold that runner at second base, Zobrist, and they're really overplaying Myers to pull the ball. But some of this has got to be to help the outfielders too on a base hit. 3 good arms in the outfield for Boston. If they can keep Zobrist at close at second, even on a base hit, they may have a shot at him.
Zawa in a 1-1 count. Go ahead and run to second base, and he zips one low and away, and that one didn't miss by much. 2 balls and a strike. This will probably be Tazawa's last hitter. Got Loney coming up next, and a left-hander in the bullpen.
Woo. 2 calls he didn't get.
Morales is ready. Hitter's count for Myers. Shoots one foul, and he looked like he might have hurt his foot or his calf. Something grabbed him on that swing.
He cramped up.
I think you're right. He just want to get his calf.
On his left leg, maybe when he straightened it out, stiffened it up, how much pressure he's got leaning against his foot.
Yeah, that grabbed him. 2 outs in the inning. Junichi Tazawa. And Myers swings and misses. A strikeout for Tazawa. A scoreless inning. Still tied at 3. We go to the 8th.
Last out.
And Jake McGee is the new hurler, John.
Jake McGee can bring it, and he needs to bring it against Big Papi. 96, 97 on up, straight over the top fastball. Tough to hit lefty on lefty.
Ortiz leads off, and McGee misfires on his first offering at 97 miles an hour. Well, John Farrell getting good work out of his bullpen. Breslow gets the first out in that 7th, and then Tazawa comes on and gets Longoria and Myers. With the tying run around the go-ahead run at second base.
I've been careful with Ortiz all game, and he just served one the other way for a base hit when they let him. You should be careful with a guy who's locked in, and certainly damage control. He'll clog up the bases a little bit. A walk's not the end of the world, even though you never want to put the leadoff guy on.
3 balls, no strikes on Ortiz. And there's strike 1.
And really had the Rays defense charging when he showed up there.
They all flinched. Not really.
Zobrist backs up even more.
Full count. Took a hack. Good pitch by McGee right on the outside corner. Rays have 2 new corner infielders with Rodriguez and Joyce.
If McGee has enough confidence to throw a breaking ball here 3-2, or if he just challenges them with a fastball away.
Sticking with the heat. And when he can throw 97, why not?
Check this out. You got Zobrist literally halfway out into right field, and you've got Joyce about 2 steps from the warning track in right field for Big Papi.
3-2 pitch and a bouncer foul. I got a piece of Ortiz. He fouled one off his toe the other day.
Tell you what, he's getting closer and closer to timing in this fastball. He would screw him in the ground, I think, if you threw him a breaking ball here. But at 97 and 98, placed in the perfect spot, will get anybody out.
There's a fastball, and Ortiz late fouls it away. Count remains full.
This late in the ball game, though, with the leadoff hitter, I think you're right. I think the breaking ball would be the pitch to get him, but if he doesn't throw it for a strike and walks him, that's not a good pitch.
Coming back to the heat. And outside, ball 4. Ortiz draws the walk.
Molina stood up very slowly. He wanted that one.
Yeah, it's mano-a-mano and off the plate at 97. Now we're going to get a pinch runner for David Ortiz.
It is a major weapon off the bench. Quentin Berry, as Ortiz is out. 3 walks, a single and an RBI today for David Ortiz. And Quentin Berry, the sole reason he is on this roster is to pinch run, specifically for Ortiz late. 24 for 24 in stolen base attempts in his career in the major leagues. And that doesn't include his 2 stolen bases he had in the postseason last season with the Tigers. So a definite running opportunity with Quentin Berry at first base. He's there with nobody out. Napoli the batter.
A left-handed pitcher that might cause him to shorten his lead a little.
I wonder if this strategy, if the series were in a different format, either 0-2 or 1-1, would this be what John Farrell does, meaning pinch run? Game's tied. Now you lose. If it stays tied in extra innings, you lose arguably one of your best hitters, but he feels this might be his best chance to take the lead. So being up 2-0, staying aggressive, why not? I guess.
Yeah, I like it. I do the same thing. Especially given Berry's success rate stealing bases. The trouble is you got this lefty on the mound, and as long as Berry knows his move and can get a good jump, he might be running.
The one thing to, with the runner at the plate not being very fast, you lose him if he hits it on the ground. So you wonder at some point, depending on the count, do they send him? Is there a hit and run or a flat out steal to avoid that scenario?
And Berry takes off. Oh! Molina's thrown to second base. The tag, and he's safe. Somehow snuck in there. Joe Madden is on his way out.
And Zobrist did his best to block the bag, and somehow Berry got through him.
How do you possibly call him safe, Joe Madden says.
Well, seeing it live, I didn't think he had a chance to be saved. It's almost like he gained the last 6 to 10 feet in his slide. Quick delivery, quick release. The ball beats him.
He stick his foot in there trying to block him. He slid right into his leg, and he was out.
He got him.
Yeah, he blocked him.
Mike Winters missed the call at second. That is a huge moment here as Barry steals the base. He's the go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out.
When a guy slides head first, you can do this without obviously feeling the spikes into your shin. A big moment right there. He stepped in the base path. Now the back arm did get around and touch the base, but he had tagged him.
Yeah. Tag was first.
Still pretty close play. It wasn't an obvious call, but one that was made based on the view that he had for the base steal.
And Zobrist willing to take whatever was coming his way by blocking the base. He was successful. He didn't get the call. Successful in that, but that he did not get the call.
Counts 2-0 now.
I thought Dana DeMuth called a strike on that pitch that was thrown down to second, but obviously not. He just raised the 2-0 count. And there's a strike.
Now you have a scenario here where a guy throws really hard, and he's going to want to probably pound in to force Napoli to pull the ball and not get the runner to third. At this point in the game, you give yourself up as much as you can. But if the pitcher executes his pitches, anyone who's, unless you're a great inside-out hitter, it's tougher to get the ball.
You can go the other way.
And a strike.
Not going to get a better pitch than that to go the other way on. So he's a line-to-line guy.
Two balls, two strikes.
It's like Napoli's choked up on the bat a little bit, John.
Any hit that hits the outfield, Barry's got a great chance to score the go-ahead run. McGee fires and down and in. Nothing but fastballs from McGee. Walk David Ortiz. Barry pinch runs and steals a base. Red Sox got the benefit of a call on a bang-bang play at second.
The point I was trying to make, guys like Julio Franco, who were great inside-out hitters, you did him a favor by throwing the ball in. He loved going to right field that way. I don't think Napoli quite is that type of hitter. He loves to turn and burn, but to your point, he can go to right field.
Here's a big one, 3-2. Napoli bouncing ball. That'll keep the runner at second. Escobar makes the play. One gone, and a big out for Jake McGee. Pins Barry to second base. And now John Farrell is going to go to his bench. Johnny Gomes is announced as the pinch hitter, and that's going to bring Madden out of the Rays dugout.
Well, they got some options here, of course, with Gomes and Saltalamacchia behind him. You've got the opportunity to turn a double play if you choose to walk Gomes or even pitch around him.
Understood the obvious here that if you put Gomes on, that's a second potential run. But I don't know how you can't, in hopes of getting a ground ball with a catcher's speed on deck, hoping to get the ground ball.
Let's send it down quickly to Rachel. She has an update on Will Myers. Rachel.
Well, Will is getting IV fluids back in the clubhouse right now. He had cramping in not just one, but both of his legs, and he is, of course, out for the game.
All right, thanks, Rachel. Cramping in both legs. And that leaves Madden without a designated hitter, which could play big if we move on into extra innings. So Johnny Gomes. Gomes has been a part of postseasons with the Rays. A's and Reds, left off that roster with Tampa Bay. And they're going to walk him intentionally. So the Red Sox weakened their defense a little bit, and they don't get the at-bat from Gomes they were looking for.
I don't blame him for walking him. He was the pinch hitter they used the most. John Farrell had him up there 21 times during the season, and he was outstanding. 6 for 21 and 4 homers.
Saltalamacchia due up next, the switch hitting catcher.
The one thing about Salty, he does have kind of an uppercut swing. But if you get a pitch away that he's trying to pull and lift, that's when you could get the ball that the Rays are hoping to get.
Well, the Rays would much rather Saltalamacchia hit right-handed against the left-handed McGee. They're comfortable turning him around. These are his splits during the regular season. As a right-handed batter, he's hitting just .218. And he's actually won for his last 12 as a right-handed batter. So 2 on. Go ahead run at second.
No overshift here. Played pretty much straight up. Zobrist is cheating over toward the bag a little bit, perhaps just to try and hold Quentin very close.
Rays are looking to turn 2 to get him out of this inning. Saltalamacchia did single his last time up. He singled to left. Red Sox lead this series 2-0, putting the Rays on the brink of elimination. All tied at 3 in the 8th.
Best arm in the outfield for the Rays right now belongs to their new right fielder, Matt Joyce. Average in center, average in right, or excuse me, in left.
Saltalamacchia had a base hit his last time up. That came against Alex Torres, the left-hander. Different kind of left-hander on the mound here in McGee, and McGee has him down 0-2. Maybe right. But this one right now belongs to McGee.
Doesn't have to throw a strike here. He can make the pitch a little off the plate, try to get Saltalamacchia to chase it.
And a swing and a miss. McGee punches him out. Saltalamacchia down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
That's pretty much right down the middle, but that's 97 for you. It's firm and a lot of late life. Such an easy motion that he doesn't look like he's throwing hard, but then the ball's on you.
McGee an out away from getting through this 8th. Stephen Drew, 2 on, 2 out. Strike 1. Got a call.
Stephen Drew faced him in game 2. McGee came in after the home run by Big Papi in the 8th inning. Gave up a couple of hits, but got out of it. And got Drew to fly to center.
Drew hit under 200 against left-handed pitchers this year.
Remember that slider I said that he should throw?
Yeah.
Forget about it.
97 on that heat.
Could see the pulse in his neck. McGee burning hot here. 2 on, 2 out. The 0-2. And he didn't bite. 98.
Probably got a better back for the name Saltalamacchia on the back of his jersey. His shoulders are so broad, and this arm action is so over the top and firm.
Count remains, a ball and 2 strikes. Stephen Drew hanging tough.
If McGee can get out of this inning, he'll look back on the good job he did on Napoli with a runner at second and nobody out.
See the arm in a real good position over the top, out over the front leg. Strong finish downhill. He's a taller guy, a bigger guy, and he pitches that way.
Not counting the intentional walk. 22 pitches, all fastballs. The 1-2, and Drew hangs in there. Boy, look at the placement of the fastballs by McGee to throw a ring around them. Drew's been able to keep himself alive.
Well, Stevens quick with his hands, and I know he's having a little hard time getting around on 97. Who doesn't? But he is quick inside. If they try to trick him and come inside, they may have to pay for it.
They wind it up again here. Popped him up. Under the rings. Foul territory. Longoria. Inning over. For the Red Sox, all tied at 3. Franklin Morales on the mound trying to keep the Rays right where they are.
Franklin Morales, another guy that seems like everybody's got him. 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but a much slower curveball. The 75-mile-an-hour. Good break on it. Hard slider. Pretty tight, the difference between the slider and the curveball. He's trying to get out Mr. Automatic, it seems like.
Johnny Gomes will stay in the game to play lefty. Pinch hit for Nava, was intentionally walked. So here's James Loney, who has 5 hits in his last 6 at-bats. Over the last 2 games, Loney tonight, Joe, is 3 for 3. 2 of his hits have come to the opposite field.
Well, he'll want to be patient, as all the Rays will against Morales. You saw those 15 walks for him in 25 innings. He can be a little erratic with his command. Has some wild pitches, hit batsmen. Got to make him throw it over the plate.
That front leg just a little herky-jerky. It's kind of his rhythm, his balance. Sometimes when that doesn't work real well, he'll pull a pitch, or you said throw a wild pitch. But firm fastball coming out of his hand with a good secondary and third pitch that he can throw off speed for a swing and miss.
Bullpens have been superb so far. For the Red Sox, it's been Breslow, Tazawa, now Morales. After Buchholz went the first 6 innings. Alex Cobb went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 2 earned runs. Alex Torres had a scoreless 6, 3 up, 3 down. Joel Peralta getting through the 7th quickly. 3 up, 3 down, and then McGee had some traffic with a couple of walks, but able to retire Saltalamacchia and Drew to get out of it. And Loney fouls it back.
A couple of lefties coming in the game, bringing it. And now Morales.
There's the Rays closer, Rodney. One of the benefits you have at home if you're still in a tie ball game. Afford to bring your closer on with the ability to win it in the bottom of the 9th. I'm sure the formula for Joe Madden: score here, give the ball to Rodney, and make plans for game 4.
The slow breaking ball, almost 20 miles an hour off the fastball. Missed wide.
James Loney is a puzzle right now for Boston pitching. Seems like he's on everything. He's laying off the tough pitches, delivering with hits when he gets one he can handle. Payoff pitch coming from Morales. And Loney lays off. Wow. What an at-bat to start the inning. A leadoff walk. Our game summary is brought to you by Geico, and if you're just picking us up, this has been a fantastic ball game. The Red Sox got an unearned run in the first. They added 2 in the 5th. Ortiz with an RBI. And then Evan Longoria with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th inning hit a 3-run home run. The big moment the Rays were looking for, and Longoria delivered to tie the game, and that's where we've been ever since.
Just like the Red Sox in the top of the inning, pitch ran for David Ortiz. James Loney is now out of the game as the Rays go for it with Sam Fuld pinch running.
And you know he has a stolen base on his mind. Desmond Jennings at the plate. Check it first. One thing about the first two games, the Red Sox just kept the pressure on Tampa Bay. And even though the Rays brought the tying run up a few times, actually brought the go-ahead run up in game 2, the Red Sox were always able to quiet them down. Tonight, after that Longoria home run, it seems like the Rays are now the aggressor. Getting excellent bullpen work. Oh, what a play by Saltalamacchia. Man, oh man. Keeps Fuld at first base. That's a page right out of the Johnny Bench Yadier Molina handbook.
Yeah, the only reason he had a chance right there was a fastball. If that was a hard slider or breaking ball, of course that ball is going to take an opposite direction. Straight hopped it. Picked it like a first baseman.
Doesn't show up anywhere in a box score, but that's a big one. Tapper foul. Ball with a strike on Desmond Jennings. Jennings has been clutch, especially in the one and done wild card game. He had the big 2 RBI double, had 2 hits that night in Cleveland. And his double that added to the Rays lead came right down the third base line. He just snuck one past Chisenhall at third.
Most managers don't like to hit and run with nobody out, but even if you were thinking about it here, this guy's so erratic with his command, it's kind of tough to put a hit and run on because you don't know if you're going to get anything you can put wood on.
Well, Jennings drops a bunt down. Morales up with it, going to be a race to the bag, and Jennings is there.
First baseman's got to read this to know what your pitcher can and can't do. It was an aggressive charge that left the base empty. He's got to read that as if his pitcher can get that off the mound. And that, at this point, it's no man's land. And a great play by the Rays.
He hasn't played first base that much, but he's been doing a really good job for the Red Sox. But you know what? Not too many people bunt the American League. He doesn't have that situation come up very often.
Perfect bunt. Infield hit. First and second, nobody out.
Well, as I mentioned, only 2 teams that did not bunt as much as Tampa and Boston, and we may see 2 in a row by Tampa.
Almost have to in a spot like this. You got a struggling hitter at the plate, Matt Joyce. 0 for 3 tonight. Started the game as the designated hitter. Now he's the right fielder. And he shows bunt and takes a strike.
Ideally, you want to bunt it hard enough toward third to make Middlebrooks field this ball. You get both runners moved up. Push it to third.
You're right, but Morales is so aggressive after the pitch to the line. A bunt back to the mound might just take him by surprise, but you're right. That's the key, bunting the ball hard enough that the third baseman has to do the same thing that the first baseman does. Read it, whether the pitcher can get it or not, and charge.
Fuld, the lead runner at second. Joyce pops up the bunt. Saltalamacchia back, and he makes the catch. Saltalamacchia. Outstanding play by the catcher in all that gear just before it hit the net. That was quick.
Now they have the bat too close to him in the bunting position to not get it out in front. And of course, like you said, Joe, they haven't done it very often or enough. Man, what a crucial situation right here.
That was a great play.
Yeah, ovation for sure. Matt Joyce had never dropped down a sacrifice bunt in his career, and it'll remain that way. And Morales is out. 3-3 game. Pitching change. Career sacrifice bunt. Unable to get the bunt down in this spot. Now Escobar is coming up, and Farrell goes to his bullpen in Brandon Workman.
Brandon Workman is in a tight spot here. Game tied, first and second. He at 2 is an aggressive. His motion's aggressive. He comes to the plate aggressive, and he's going to need to get these runners stranded. As you saw his percentage there, pretty good.
Yunel Escobar at the plate.
Aggressive early. There's a pitch.
He is ready to fire. Go ahead run at second. Workman, the tall Texan out of Austin, played his college ball at the University of Texas. And in the big leagues for the first time. Began his year in AAA Pawtucket. The starting pitcher in AAA. Starts it with a breaking ball.
Good choice. Escobar aggressive in game 2. Really been aggressive a lot of times at the plate. That curveball never looked close enough to even be remotely a pitch he could have swung at, but good choice.
Delman Young waiting on deck. He'll be pinch hitting for Molina. And a broken bat up the middle. Drew slides and he gets tangled up with Pedroia, and everybody is safe. Both players went for the ball.
Stephen Drew had a legitimate shot and a double play there if Pedroia doesn't take him out. Stephen went to the ground, though, to make sure it didn't get past him. He was only going to get one by sliding to get this ball.
Remember, it was Escobar's infield hit that started that rally for the 3-run homer that came with 2 outs. Here he gets another infield hit that keeps the rally going. And now Delman Young probably won't get to 3 balls before action takes place. Is at the plate.
That is a big one there. Drew and Pedroia collide. Bases loaded. Delman Young announced. He'll hit for Molina. An August pickup by the Rays. And he is up in a huge spot.
First pitch swinger.
Young swings at a bouncing ball. Napoli has it. And he thought about the plate. Goes to first. Run scores. Rays lead. Napoli couldn't pull the trigger. And the pinch runner Fold scores. And Delman Young wasting no time on the RBI ground out. 4-3 Rays.
It looked like after he gloved the ball that his first notion was to go to first, and then he changed, and by the time he looked home, it was too late. He looked at the bag and then shifted his feet, and by that time it was too late.
Had no chance to throw out Fold, who was flying down the line. And Delman Young drives in another key run batted in for the Rays. And Rodney gets ready for a save now. Top of the order, Sean Rodriguez. Second and third. Strike 1.
Well, a lot of things we talked about earlier for the Rays. They needed some things to go right. Finally, in this inning, a couple things go right. The ball hasn't left the infield in crucial times, and they have got the lead. A bunt that wasn't made, a play at first, infield single, and now that infield ground out.
Started with a great at bat by Loney, drawing a walk to get it started.
That was a lefty on lefty matchup against Morales. Delman Young delivers the go-ahead RBI in the 8th. Rodriguez down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez entered this game in the 7th inning, his second plate appearance. One and two the count. 2-2. Sean Rodriguez homered in game 1 on Friday. Allowed the Rays to score the first run of this division series. He hit a bomb at Fenway Park. Not known as a power hitter, though. Joe Maddon's got some work to do defensively. He's taken Loney, his best first baseman, out of the game. If that's James Loney, Joe, at third base, that's most likely an out, as opposed to Sam Fuld.
You're right. He's also taken his catcher out of the game. Pinch hit for him.
Now base open at first. Then Zobrist on deck. Rodriguez into left field. Johnny Gomes is over. He's got it, and the side is retired. But the Tampa Bay Rays have taken the lead. Now and they'll turn it over to their closer, Fernando Rodney, who's about to do something he has never attempted, and that's try to nail down a save in the postseason. His first 9th inning save opportunity in the playoffs. Will Middlebrooks will lead off. Joe Maddon doing a lot of mixing and matching, pinch runners, defensive changes. Will Myers had to leave with an injury, so his defense looks nothing like he imagined in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. And it's quickly 2 balls and no strikes. Jose Lobaton will come on to catch. Delman Young pinch hit for Molina. Matt Joy slides over to left field because Sam Fuld is now in right field. And the new first baseman is Sean Rodriguez.
Last year you couldn't get more automatic. Fernando Rodney. This year not the case. Doesn't look like he does much with his lower half, but he can rush it up there to 95, 98 with a really Bugs Bunny changeup.
And strike 1 on the 4th offering to Middlebrooks.
Basically, the Rays are cashing in all their chips that this goes the way they hope it to go, because we talked about they've used a lot of players. Pitcher now has to bat if somehow Boston ties up the game. So to say this is a crucial 3 outs is an understatement.
And Rodney walks the leadoff hitter, the 9-hole hitter, Middlebrooks. And hold on to your hat, Rays fans. Have walked the tightrope with Rodney this season. Did have 37 saves, but he blew 8. And now John Farrell's going to counter with a pinch runner. Xander Bogaerts will run. With the Red Sox down a run, we'll see if Bogaerts tries to steal the base.
Well, anytime you get the lead and you come in to finish up a ball game like Rodney here, you want to get the first guy naturally. But to walk the first guy in front of the top of their order, you are asking for trouble.
With the double dual threat here, he can bunt for a base hit and bunt for a sacrifice. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense, does Ellsbury, and more than likely, again, we haven't seen many sacrifice attempts by these two teams. We'll be looking at our 3rd try here in 1 inning span.
Check on Bogaerts. Ellsbury is a tough guy to double up. He's so fast and gets out of the box so quickly. He'd have to hit one right at an infielder on a line. Ellsbury has 2 hits tonight and a line drive out. It's 2 for 4. Rodney misses again. 5 out of 6 pitches are balls so far for Fernando Rodney. Lobatone out to have a chat.
He's also known to pitch a little backwards in different counts. He's got that changeup that we talked about. His command for the fastball obviously has not been good right away. Wonder if he goes to that changeup with Ellsbury thinking aggressively, trying to hit, or at least showing to hit the first time.
Especially since he can't get his fastball over.
Almost hit him. Changeup from Rodney, and he has fallen behind. 2 balls, no strikes on Jacoby Ellsbury.
It's a tough spot for Ellsbury. You got a guy throwing the ball all over the place, but you got a good hitter's count. Might make him throw a strike and not try to jump on this one, expecting one down the middle. He can't throw a strike just yet.
Tying run at first. Ellsbury swings, little jam shot. Long run. That ball is going to fall. A base hit. Nobody's at third base. Now Rodney comes over, and that keeps Bogaerts at second. That was a big move by Fernando Rodney. Bogaerts was on his way until he saw Rodney. A little flare single by Ellsbury. And now the Red Sox have the go-ahead run aboard.
Fought it off. 2-0 count. He was late, but he hit it in a perfect spot. Bogaerts had no way of knowing if that ball was going to drop or not. Otherwise, he'd have made third.
Longoria had to respect the potential bunt situation, so he was playing in probably more than he would have. And now this almost begs for a bunt.
Well, keep in mind too that you got a great bunter at the plate in Victorino, so you move him to second and third, assuming he's successful. That leaves first base open, and then you got Pedroia. But remember, David Ortiz is out of the ball game in the cleanup spot. That's Quentin Berry who's in that spot now. Let's see how this unfolds.
Victorino tonight had an infield hit. He's also hit by a pitch.
I still think you got to put pressure on the team. I think you got to be in the winning run at second base rather than risking a rare double play by Victorino. But I think this begs to just get him over.
Red Sox have speed to cover all the bases, and Rodney misfires.
Yeah, the Rays are not even set up defensively for a potential double play ball. Escobar is well off the bag, ready to go cover at third base if he has to.
Red Sox had 24 sacrifice bunts this year. Victorino 10 of them. Rodney has not been great throwing the bases either, fielding the ball. He gets the bunt down, and Rodney's going to take it, and the throw to first is low, but Rodriguez makes the play. Or rather, Zobrist, and the runners are advanced.
Almost some horrible indecision there with Rodriguez coming into play first base over who was going to take that. Little hesitation on Rodney's part, but he made the play. Good bunt by Victorino. Rodriguez had to kneel down to get out of the way.
So there's the first out. Fernando Rodney 2 outs away from forcing a game 4, but now the Red Sox have him in position with their best hitter coming up.
And they have to play the middle infielders back. I mean, you're at home. You're willing to give up 1 run, but not 2. So the only 2 places really first base and a hard hit ball to third prevent the Red Sox from scoring.
Dustin Pedroia with 1 away, and a shot foul.
Mike Karp has come out on deck circle to hit for Berry, and he's been an excellent pinch hitter also.
Uehara gets loose. No balls and a strike on Pedroia.
Joyce has moved over to play left field. Again, he's the guy among their outfielders that has the better arm of the three. But Sam Fuld, pretty good arm too, in right now. Better than Jennings in center. How about him pitching? Are they going to pitch to Pedroia? Was the first pitch a fluke? They got a base open.
Shot to short, run coming to the plate, and he will score. Pedroia's out, but this game is tied up. So at the infield back, Madden plays for the out. A run is in for Boston. 4-4 game. RBI ground out by Pedroia. Second out of the inning.
You really almost have to. I know it's going to be easy to say you play the infield in, the run doesn't score, but it increases the odds for a hitter tremendously. We've seen already jam shots for hits. But you're cutting off so many angles for a shortstop when he's in. So at home, that's the play.
Yeah, I understand that. I'd be interested to hear Joe Madden describe why they pitched to Pedroia as opposed to Mike Carp.
Here is Carp. Go ahead and run at second base in the speedy Ellsbury. Rodney walked the first batter, gave up the hit to Ellsbury, the little flare that falls. Now John Farrell has his best pinch hitter up. The runner takes off Ellsbury, and he'll make it to third. That'll be a stolen base for Jacoby Ellsbury, and why not? Puts all kind of pressure on Rodney now.
That puts all kind of pressure on everybody. An infielder making this play, he just walks to third. Now you got the catcher and everybody in the infield. Any kind of error puts the lead for Boston, so can't take anything for granted.
Especially with his wildness this inning.
Almost hit him. Mike Carp won a ball game here at Tropicana Field at a pinch hit grand slam on September 11th. Has 2 homers as a pinch hitter in the regular season and 9 runs batted in. 3-0 the count. Carp swings, had the green light.
Boy. 97 fastball. He's a little tardy, even 3-0.
If you're looking ahead to the Tampa Bay 9th inning, Zobrist, Longoria, and the pitcher spot. That's right. The designated hitter is out of this game. Strike call.
Kelly Johnson's still on the bench for the Rays.
And that's it.
And it's David Price. All the pitchers would not be used maybe in this game, or the last potential pinch hitters if this game keeps going.
The last pitch, the best one Rodney's made this inning.
Called strike 3. Carp is out. And Rodney gives up a run. The game is tied. Bottom of the 9th. At a last at-bat victory, Koji Uehara, the Red Sox closer, who Farrell said he would not hesitate to use in multiple innings, is on to work. And Zobrist on the first pitch over to Napoli. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Typically, you don't bring your closer in on the road in a tie game. But I'm sure if I'm thinking like John Farrell, this will be their best chance to score where the lineup is, knowing that he can extend the game and use a starter like Dempster in long relief, because Tampa really has 1 hitter left, and so the game shifts now and maybe puts it in Boston's advantage if they can extend the game.
Well, it may be the fact that Tampa Bay's most dangerous hitter is coming up this inning too, and he wanted him to face him and no one else to face him.
Right.
Xander Bogaerts in the game to play third base. And by the way, Joe Madden, we were looking at his lineup, so he actually used a double switch to get Lobaton in the game last inning, and it'll be Lobaton due up next. His spot in the order comes up. Longoria would love to do what he did back in the 5th inning. He hit a 3-run home run that tied the game. This came with 2 outs. Red Sox up 3-0, and the biggest hit of the postseason so far for Tampa Bay. As Longoria drives one to center. Ellsbury 2 up, 2 down quickly.
Well, and what this will turn into is more than likely a 2-inning stint. This guy does not throw many pitches. He throws strikes. And as John Farrell said, look, his workload is, for a typical closer, is about as efficient as you can get.
So Lobatone coming in on the double switch. Sounds strange in an American League ball game, but Will Myers had to leave this game due to an injury. Lobatone, a big swing and a miss.
This guy's had some big hits for them. He's got some pop in his bat. This Uehara is a strike throwing machine.
In the air, right center field. That's got a chance. Jose to the baseball world, Jose Lobatone. Walk-off home run off Uehara. And the Rays force a game 4.
And how about the move by Joe Madden to make the double switch to be heads up enough when they lost their DH to make a double switch so that he's hitting in this spot. That one landed out in the aquarium out there.
Back-to-back split fingers, and the second one didn't have the same reaction. Almost in the pool. It was in the pool, or where the Stingrays are. Incredible. Wow.
What a moment. Great smile from Hickey. Had him all the way, skipper. Uehara. 2 quick outs. Walk-off home run, Jose Lobatone. And there's just something about elimination games for the Tampa Bay Rays.